Yo, yeah, that's B-Eazy, that's the name. Way before the world knew he was running the game. Laid the groundwork, built the foundation strong. Been influencing the whole scene all along. Now everybody gotta give that man his praise. A living legend for the rest of his days. Oh, he deserves all the accolades, yeah. B-Eazy, B-Eazy. Gotta give that man his praise. A living legend for the rest of his days. Oh, he deserves all the accolades. B-Eazy, B-Eazy. B-Eazy. He got that certain kind of profile, smooth and effortless style. He's so fresh, makes the whole room stop and stare a while. Hear him asking, who's that? Mama, there he goes again. The way he moves, you know he's gonna win. Oh, you ain't know? That's just B-Eazy. B-Eazy Dat Dude. That man right there. Be-Eazy. We all here to see B-Eazy. We wanna listen to B-Eazy. Ayy, we all like B-Eazy. Now, matter of fact, we love B-Eazy. Believe me, he really that dude. Subscribe to the channel, it's easy to do. If you care, then go ahead and share this fire content, extraordinarily rare. That's why I put that on my mama, he is that dude. And I put that on my daddy, he is that dude. So
yeah. Listen up. It's B-Eazy Dat Dude, the great. He ain't fake, he one of the real guys. Spitting fire every stream. You've been late to the party, now it's time to realize. From Pittsburgh to around the world, yeah, the flow is elite. Every beat that he slide on turns into straight heat. Came up from the grind, selling box on a laptop, running up a bag, feel like he hit the jackpot. Got the luxury visions, ambition vivid, never bluff. Person's progress, persevere when the going gets tough. B-Eazy Dat Dude, got stripes in the game. Every rhyme, every line, they gon' remember the name. From the streets to the stage, the energy don't fade. Legend in the making, yeah, history's what he's laid. Mic in his hand, heart in the flow and soul on every beat. Dropping knowledge, power, bravado, his legacy complete. Hustle amplified, lyrics electrified, that's the truth. B-Eazy Dat Dude, established with certified proof. Feel the bass, feel the vibe, let it ride through the crowd. All the words, every hook, man, he keeps making us proud. King of his lane, rising above every feud. All hail the one and only, B-Eazy Dat Dude. Yeah.
He always do it big, you know who it is. B-Eazy, B-Eazy, B-Eazy Dat Dude. He on his way to the top and he ain't about to stop. You thought he would flop and didn't wanna give him props. The things you dreaming about he already did do. Now it's time to soak a game, he about to give you. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to tune in when he goes live. Make a contribution if you feeling the content. Tap into the realness if you tired of the nonsense. I mean, no disrespect, ain't trying to sound rude, but the world already knows that B-Eazy's that dude. Ooh.
Hey yo, who is that dude? Oh girl, that's just B-Eazy. Oh boy, that's just B-Eazy. Well, who is B-Eazy? Oh, you ain't know, he been a pro for show, all about the dough. He been running up them racks and still trying to get some more. Don't care about the fame, just trying to gain and grow. He really one of them ones, his presence so pivotal. So hell yeah, he that dude, this is unequivocal.
Turn your radios up. Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy Dat Dude, an impromptu stream back with another one. This one is gonna be a banger. May got some from the Umar sector, the Umar sexuals. Y'all may get a little bit disturbed because this one will be a doozy. I don't like to keep y'all waiting. Before we get this thing started, I gotta hit ya.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元民。と言っても
世代です。もう友達できたの？
This promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, moving for me slow mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting moto. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about no ho. This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this bread forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy Dat Dude in the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji, eating tandoori and chicken curry. That ism is really envy. My pimp ain't international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of bad. And we are activated. And we gonna get right into it, but we've already been joined by some illustrious guests. We got none other than the man himself, S. Venom, JB Quinn. If y'all haven't subscribed to the brother channel, make sure that y'all do. Look up S. Venom. He is a musician. He is a producer. He is a philanthropist. He is a teacher and educator. So he is a man of many hats. I know the guy personally, and, you know, he is a respectable figure. We've got none other than the East Coast finest, Mr. Nassau County. Hey, Roger Meadows, where Brooklyn at? He says, so fresh and so clean. I'm still looking for the Haitian lady calling us dirty black Americans. She gets swept up by that ICE TPS. You know what? This chick, she went on a rant. I might have to pull up that from Professor Black Truth stream, but there was this viral Haitian chick who went viral for, are y'all black American, dirty black American? And they was like, hey, why you calling us that? Because that's what you are. So she didn't just double down. She didn't triple down. She quadrupled down. And you know what? There wasn't a lot of Haitians coming out and saying, you know, speaking up for us, but it's okay. We tell y'all to hold your own nuts and we'll do the same. It's okay. We got it from here. And we've got none other than the cosmic Chrissy. Love what it do, Chrissy. Driving, listening. Welcome everyone coming in. Share and subscribe. And remember, it won't cost you a fee. Like, share, commenting, and engaging with the chat and the creator is all free, right? So, you know, if you're feeling generous, you can hit the Cash App. But if you're a cheapskate, a tightwad, you know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. But at least hit me with a like. I mean, you know, or if you hate what I'm saying, at least hit me with a hateful comment, right? Even the hateful comments helps boost the algorithm. So don't just sit there idly by. If you love the content, like it. And if you hate it, let me know and I'll drop the link. I'd rather have a discussion, but if you want to have a debate, you know, prepared to get destroyed and outclassed, but hey, you know, and we've got none other than the majestic Melanated Agenda. Salute to Melanated. I appreciate you. And we've got the UK fam dropping the T in the chat. What it do, what it be. Salute to dropping the T. And I feel like I need a spot of it. You know what I mean? And we've got none other than the marvelous my boo. What it did it do? She slid through. We've got Mr. Midnight Soul chatting from an undisclosed location in Northern America. We got Red Six in the mix like Twix. What it do? Appreciate you. And we've got Sackle Bulb. That's was who lying? Let me know. That's one heck of a name. Sackle Bulb sounds like a troll name. So let's get into it. All right. I appreciate y'all. Looks like y'all coming in heavy. So we gonna get right into it. So y'all seen the title, y'all seen the thumbnail, and Sackle Bulb. I want to know, Sackle, I hope you're not here to cackle. If you're here to chat, let me know who is the she that you're referring to. But we gonna get right into it. So I'm gonna react to this video from a great creator. This is a young brother, and he usually be cooking. His name is Afro Elite, and I'm gonna react to this video. This video is titled "Dr. Umar Desperately Reaches in Order to Bash FBA." Now, mind you, there. Dr. Umar, you had a run, bruh, but like nobody is really thinking about bruh like that. And then all of a sudden, he just comes out of left field attacking FBA, claiming that he agrees with many of our positions, but only if he can Pan-Africanize it, only if he can try to monopolize it for his own agenda. So we going to get right into this and break this thing down. And I would love for the chat to have some engagement. And if you want, I may not be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. Let's commence.
Where's Black America's diplomatic relationship with an African power? We don't have one. We foundational Black Americans. We American descendants of slaves. I don't even want to use the word African. I'm a foundational Black American. And look what you got. Foundational convictions.
Huh? Come on, bruh. Look, hey, Umar, I didn't think it was going to be this early. Hey, Dr. Umar. Hey, Umar Johnson. Gotta hit you. What?
Hope, please.
Nigga, please.
Hope.
Nigga, what?
Nigga.
Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
What?
What the hell is he even talking about? Let's run that back one more again. So he's doing the little air quotes to try to ridicule you. Y'all foundational Black Americans, you don't want to call yourself African. What has me calling myself African like really done and gotten me? You don't know anything about Africa, but there's this desperate, it's very desperate and rather pathetic to just keep generically Africanizing you. You know nothing about Africa, but you're just supposed to call yourself African. For what? And all that does is just make you comparable to immigrants. All that does is strip you from what you fought, bled, and died for here. There's nothing wrong with being African. Many people, there's a bunch of Europeans with African ancestry, and they don't call themselves African. There's a bunch of literally the quote unquote heritage Americans. Guess what their ancestry is? Predominantly European. And they're not even calling themselves European. They're calling themselves white and Caucasian. And no one goes to a bunch of white people saying, why y'all call yourselves a color, right? Most white people, many of them are actually not white, right? No one is saying that their skin pigment is going to be actually white. When you look at many of them Italians, many of them are dark skinned, which is why they were called the N-words and why they were called guineas, because they were saying, nah, y'all ain't really white. Y'all are like more African, which are saying they were Negro, right? So people recognize this. So look, man, people just are not rocking with the term, right? I know people are trying to fixate and hold on to the African American term, but it's just a misnomer. It doesn't accurately describe people, and no one knows who the heck you're talking about. Maybe there was a time and period in this country where when you said an African American, you did know who it referred to. But now the history is getting muddy, the lineage is getting muddy to try to pretend that we're all just one big melting pot of a global Negro. And no other group does this. No other group is subjected to this. There's over 560 federally recognized native tribes. Many of those native tribes have been remixed, recolonized, revamped, revitalized. Many of them have a bunch of chiefs that look like Macaulay Culkin, Justin Bieber, and Justin Timberlake. And they've convinced you that these are the true indigenous. Okay. So, and then again, why are the native tribes delineating? There's over 500 plus federally recognized tribes. Why aren't they calling themselves one big Native American? Why aren't they calling themselves one big indigenous population? No, they're saying, no, we're all different, right? And people honor that distinction. But with us, we have to pretend that we're all the same. And he doesn't even do this to other parts. Most of the slave population, the enslaved people, they were brought to the Caribbean. He's not going to the Brazilians and demanding that they call themselves African Brazilian, not Afro Latino, not Afro Hispanic, African, right? Since you love the term so much, why aren't Haitians calling themselves African Haitian? Don't worry, I'll wait. Where are the Jamaicans calling themselves African Jamaican? You're saying no, Jamaicans have African ancestry. Okay, cool. So they can have African ancestry, but still honor their ethnic and national identity by saying they're Jamaican. Yeah, that makes sense. No, why aren't they calling themselves African Jamaican though? We're the only group where it's just forced that, yeah, y'all foundational Black American. No, drop the Black, add the African. Like, huh? No, you know what I mean? We don't know anything about that, right? So it's just this desperate attempt to, like, make us a generic African. And then they say, you don't know where you're from. So if I don't know where I'm from, how could you say that I'm from there? Yeah, you from there. It's just you don't know it. Okay. But let's get to the chat before I pull this right up. I asked where Brooklyn at, and Brooklyn has arrived. Cloudness 457. The Brownsville bully in building. Let's get into this thing. This one will be a doozy.
Where's Black America's diplomatic relationship with an African power? We don't have one. We foundational Black Americans. We American descendants of slaves. I don't even want to use the word African. I'm a foundational Black American. And look what you got. Foundational convictions.
Nigga, what's with all the hostility, bruh? I don't even want to use the term African. Like, come on, bruh. Nigga, what's with all the sassiness, bruh? He's over here acting like a whiny, petulant little hoe. Like, come on, bruh. No one is forcing anyone to call themselves foundational Black American if they're of the lineage. If you want to go around calling yourself African American, fine. All people are saying is, I'm not one and don't call me that. And then they give a coherent explanation of why they don't want to be called that and why it's a misnomer. You don't know who the heck you're talking about. Guess who's African American? Elon Musk? No, he's not. Yeah, actually he is. How is he not? Is he African? Yes. Is he American? Yes. He's African American. Now you can honor, no, it didn't used to mean that. Yeah, it didn't used to mean that. And then they flooded the country with millions and millions of immigrants that are not of the lineage. Nothing against immigrants. I'm just saying that we're different. Just as well as a Chinese person is different from a Vietnamese person. But guess what? They're both Asian. And you honor that national, cultural, and ethnic distinction. But with us, we have to pretend, right? Koreans and, Cambodians and Japanese people, sometimes they have similar skin pigments. Does that make them the same group because they're of the same so-called racial group? They're all Asian, yeah, and they're all ethnically different. It would be highly disrespectful to say that, hey, look, man, Japanese people, you have slanted eyes, and so do you Chinese people. So you're all the same. You're all Asian. You don't know who you are. Stop arguing. That would be highly disrespectful. They would call it anti-Asian hate. They would call it xenophobia. But with us, we have to pretend that everybody is the same. Someone from East Africa with a whole different mouth, nose, facial structure, hairline, you have to pretend that they're the same as you just because they're from a large continent and they have similar skin pigment. Do you know who Vivek Ramaswamy is? He has a similar skin pigment as many black people. So am I the same as Vivek Ramaswamy because he's brown and I'm brown? It doesn't even make any sense, but this is what you've been convinced to accept, right? Oh, they have a similar skin pigment. Yeah, and they have an entirely different culture, entirely different dialect, entirely different phenotype. And they'll say that you have some phenotypic similarities, so that makes you the same. Look, they got a big nose, you got a big nose. Y'all the same. Okay, but let's get it back into it. You said, Umar, where's the friggin' school and when is it opening, sucker? Yeah, bro is over here trying to wag his finger. Where's y'all diplomatic relationship, bro? Where's your school? Seriously, like, where's the school, bro? He's talking about he's the Prince of Pan-Africanism, and guess who's funded the school? Is foundational black Americans who have mainly funded the school. He's wagging his finger at us. He said he's the Prince of Pan-Africanism, but there's no African nations that have funded his school. Where are the Nigerians that have funded his school? All you hear is crickets. Where are the Ghanaians that have funded his school? So he's wagging his fingers at the very group that he wants to fund his school. It's called the Marcus Garvey, and he wants you to look at Marcus Garvey as some say. To me, hey, maybe Marcus Garvey has done some good things, said some good things, but he said a lot of disrespectful things. He said a lot of disingenuous things, and he engaged in some tether behavior. So it's kind of like a mixed bag with me with Marcus Garvey. We can't try to like lionize him and pretend as if he was like, just this great unifying figure, because what was he really unifying people for? Did you know he was calling himself like the provisional king or prince of Africa, but he's never been? Imagine somebody saying, man, I'm the king of Brooklyn, but they've never been. Imagine someone saying, I'm the king of California. Have you ever been? No. Do you plan on going? No. How are you the king of California? You didn't put any work to do that. You just declared yourself that. He tried to use whatever notoriety he got from us, foundational black Americans, because he was Jamaican. And guess what? When he went to Jamaica, he tried to run for president, and the Jamaicans, his own people, said hell to the no. They voted for a W person over him. So all of this unifying stuff that Marcus Garvey was supposed to do, I mean, it kind of fell flat in his motherland. You know what I mean? So ironic. You messing up his grift. Have a heart. Michi X says he uses his school to prey on single black moms who bring their sons to a school or whatever he has. I'ma touch on that single black moms angle. Don't worry, Roger. I told you. This one will be a banker. And of course, I thought she was still live. Salute to Sincere. I had to cook up this live so I couldn't check you out. But I appreciate the sophisticated and the sensational Sincere Saida. Let's get back into this thing.
Where's Black America's diplomatic relationship with an African power? We don't have one. We foundational Black Americans. We American descendants of slaves. I don't even want to use the word African. I'm a foundational Black American.
Again, bro, what's with all this like kind of sassy, passive aggressive when you doing the little air quotes? Are we not foundational? You don't have to like the term. Look at the definition of foundational. There's no argument that you can make that we're not. Are we not descendant of American chattel slaves? So now he wants to air quote that. So you're supposed to say Africa with your chest, right? but then you air quote America. When you go to Africa, guess what they call you? They call you what you are. American. So I'm in America. My family is from America, fought, bled, and died in America. My mom is from America. Her mom is from America. Her mom is from America. And her mom is from America. But I'm still supposed to be looking back to some mythical, generic place in Africa that didn't even exist when my forefathers was building here. My family is from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Tuscaloosa, Alabama is older than Nigeria. It's older than Sudan. It's older than most African nations. But I'm supposed to look back and say, yeah, you really from there. It was a plot of land. It's just they didn't had no name for it. So how could you say I'm from there? Oh, it's just based on speculation and guesses, right? And many times you just go with it. It just doesn't even make any sense. But why is he so hell bent? Why does it even matter? What is the whole point of, because they try to say, oh, well, black is just a color, it's not a race. There's no race called African. There's no country called African. Again, yeah, it's a continent. And then they love to say that Africa is the most racially diverse continent. So saying that you're African, it doesn't mean black. You're trying to frame it that it means black, but it doesn't, which is why the mayor, the New York mayor, Zoran Mamdani, guess what? He said he was African American. When he wanted to get in a prestigious school, he said he was African American. And is he not? He is an Indian born in Uganda. Hey, he's African because he's of Ugandan descent based on birthright, right? And then he becomes an American citizen. And since people love the melting pot, this is a nation of immigrants built by immigrants. Y'all love that talk, right? So he's a Indian born in Uganda, which makes him African. He becomes an American citizen so he can tether on to the term African American. This is how nebulous and vague the term is. Guess who else is African American? Charlize Theron. Guess who else? Elon Musk. Guess who else? Dave Matthews from the Dave Matthews Band, right? Man, they ain't black. Yeah, I didn't say they were black. I said they were African American. Guess who else is African American? French Montana, who is a Moroccan Arab looking dude. Morocco is where? In Africa. He's an American citizen. How is he not African American? He's not black. Yeah, he's not black, but he's African American. Which is why people are like, bro, who the heck are you talking about when you're using this term? Oh, we're talking about this group. And then we're talking about the descendants of American slavery. No, you're not, because technically Akon is African American. He's a Senegalese immigrant. He comes over here and he doesn't call himself Senegalese American. I'm African American. Look at Idris Elba, and shout out to dropping the T. But you know how Idris Elba really talks. Cheerio, would you like a spot of tea? And then he comes over here. Hey, what up, my nigga? Yo. You feel me? He picks up the BAVE, Black American Vernacular. And then suddenly Cynthia Erivo, Tether, Idris Elba, Tether, David Owawalaway, Bungalow, whatever his name is, they come over here. They're Nigerian Brits, but they don't call themselves Nigerian. They call themselves Black Brit. So as much as Umar Kunmar is over here talking about y'all don't want to call yourselves African, why aren't the Nigerians in Britain calling themselves by their nation state? I'm a Black Brit. Nah, you're not. You're a Nigerian Brit. Like, why won't you lean on that? He's saying we don't want to call ourselves African. These people don't even want to identify as their nation state. They try to go under a banner of flat blackness. Why? Because we were the ones who stood up for blackness, which is why you see it in all of our institutions. Now there's a modern terminology of they're trying to rewrite and generic Africanize all our stuff. Y'all know what James Brown said. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. He didn't say it loud, I'm African and I'm proud. Nothing wrong with being African. It's a beautiful thing. That's not what he said. We have historically Black colleges, not historically African-American colleges. It's Black History Month. There's a congressional, unfortunately, it's full of immigrants now, so it's turned into like the Tether Caucus, but it's called a Congressional Black Caucus, not a Congressional African Caucus. I mean, it might as well be called that, but see, we've always leaned into blackness, and people like Kunmar, they've helped try to usurp our identity by putting a blanket African banner onto it so that anyone could come and say, hey, y'all African and I'm African. And actually, these people could try to usurp you and say, hey, we're the true Africans from the motherland, and y'all need to get in touch with y'all roots, right? You're supposed to forget all of what you built here. All of the wars that my family fought in was in America. My family didn't fight in any wars in Africa. I don't have no distant relatives in Africa. My mom had no distant relatives. Her mom had no distant relatives, and her mom had none. So again, I'm supposed to fight for a landmass that I've never been to, my family has never been to, and know nothing about. There was nothing African about the food that my mom cooked. You know why? Because when I hung around real Africans, which I didn't grow up around a bunch of them, but when I came around them, they were like, yeah, this ain't African. This ain't how we do it. It just doesn't make any sense, right? I get it. Aspirational. You want to show love to the motherland, but this is my motherland. If your motherland is in Africa, fine. But there's a reason why a bunch of people from the so-called motherland is trying to get here and trying to get you to repatriate. How can I repatriate to a place I've never been? It doesn't even make any sense, right? They're saying that this is the land of milk and honey, you know what I mean? Not whatever motherland you fled from. You said, I call him David Oyelio. Well, David Yodelehihu, like, I don't care what dude's name is, bro, is a tether. And he's not a tether just because he has a different lineage, but all of that disrespectful stuff that he was saying is like, yeah, that's not just gonna go unchallenged. Sabby lit into Vivek dumping on us while the pink people he's trying to get in good with tell him that they're not interested in him, all while saying a bunch of racist stuff for him to go back to India. Yeah, they're calling Vivek Ramaswamy, who I call him Vivek Hot Pastrami or Vivek Racist Swami, but they're over here calling him a Pajit. They're over here calling him a street shitter. I had never seen so many videos. Did you know that they have festivals in India where they like pick up turds and they like throw it and smear it on each other's face? You feel me? They eat like, you feel me, bean pies, bean burritos, you feel me? Bean salad, and then they have poop festivals. Whose culture is that? Who's raising these people? Now, I'm not into just disparaging people and saying that everyone of that racial or ethnic group participates in a turd fest, but I'm just saying there are some people that have done that. Shout out to the dude Supper Ray 14K. He would show people doing this little goop scoop where it'd be some Indians that was cooking food. They would have like toenail soup or, like, you feel me, like pubic hair pasta, like all sorts of little weird stuff, you know what I mean? Stuff I would never eat, but I'm just saying, whose culture is that? When we say we had soul food, you know what I mean? We have terms like, man, hey, so and so, man, you put your foot in it. These people, like, they literally were actually putting their foot in it. The term like break a leg, like, we don't really mean break a leg or, oh man, you put your foot in this dish, right? They are literally putting their feet in the dish. So, you know what I mean? If you have a peanut butter sandwich, rather than some strawberry jam, they add toe jam. And I'm not saying it's everybody, but I'm just saying, whose culture is that? And you're not supposed to say anything because, oh, look, some of us are smart and some of us, are good with tech. Yeah, just like us. Some of us are smart, some of us are innovators, and some of us are ratchet, and some of us are degenerate. That doesn't speak to all of us, but if y'all want to say that, some crusty, musty, dusty nigga from Chicago because he did a drive-by, then that's black culture, then you can't tell me that these Indians having, boo-boo festivals, how is that not your culture? And let me try to find the videos, because y'all must think I'm jawsing or something. Let me try to find the videos of the poop festivals, and they were pretty massive. I'm like, ooh, it almost looked like Woodstock. Imagine Woodstock, but people are smearing doodle on each other. I'm just saying. And shout out to Frank Nitty, Mr. Gritty, putting on for the biddies. Hey, my bad. Hey, I forgot. I forgot. My bad. You know what? I did go a little bit overboard. My bad, y'all. I want to issue an apology. Give me one moment. Hold on. Do I have it? Here's my apology.
Talo. Sorry.
Sorry. Didn't mean to go that deep, but I'm just saying. Shout out to the bro John. It gets deeper. Y'all get what I'm saying. When people love to talk about culture, I'm like, hey, you want to talk about culture? It's like, fine, we can talk about the culture. We can hold all of our degenerate stuff, right? Hey, y'all love fried chicken and watermelon. It's like, okay, fine. Go with all the jokes. We love fried chicken and watermelon, but you love pubic hair pasta? It's not the same. It's not. Oh, my bad, Roger. Don't tell me you was eating. Hopefully you go get a good dinner after this, Roger. My bad though, Roger. Salute to the bro. Yeah, I mean, it sounds funny, but yes, they do have these festivals where they're like throwing turds and rubbing turds on each other's face. You know, but people are like they're unified. Yeah, unified rubbing turds on each other. You said you don't want to see that? Oh, I was gonna pull it up for you. And shout out to MD, was good with the boy. Salute to the Brody. Hey, the marvelous. Sorry. Had to, but let's get back into it. All right, let's get back into it. See, I haven't even got to let Dr. Kunmar go.
And look what you got. Foundational convictions.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our
ethnicity in our recent lineage here. Okay. Now you have some who are Pan-African. That does not make them not FBA or Black American or Foundational Black American. Okay. Because Pan-Africanism is an ideology. Okay. It's a thought process. It is not a.
And I kind of fast forwarded some of what he said just because to make the video transformative. I will be fast forwarding. I will be going back and forth from the screen like this. Now, some people are triggered by the foundational Black American term because it's a term that they can't leech and tether onto. It's not a group, it's a lineage. There is no FBA movement. There is a movement of delineation, but I call it the delineation process, not necessarily a movement, but a process. However, if there was to be a movement, the movement would be delineation. The lineage is foundational Black American freedmen. There's multiple terms that mean the same thing. Foundational Black American, American descendant of slave, Solon, freedmen. They all mean the same thing, just different vernacular. And the reason why people came up with the term is not to be divisive, not because they hate other people, just because, like I told you, Elon Musk is African American. You can try to pretend, no, he's not black. And once again, being African American doesn't require blackness. The terminology is very vague. It tries to say of African descent. Elon Musk is of African descent. French Montana is of African descent. No, they're not black, right? They're not racially black. They're not of the Negroid race, right? And then people get into, well, race is a social construct. Well, if you argue that, then you have to argue everything under that is also a social construct. Tribes are social constructs. Ethnicity is social construct. Nationality is social construct. And guess what? Here's the big banger. Religion. It's all a social construct. So which construct do you believe in and which construct do you adhere to? That's what matters. And people do adhere to a racial construct, but only when it benefits them, right? See, they'll say that these so-called Native Americans, oh, well, they were Asiatic. Okay, so then when I ask you, well, what race is a Native American? But they won't say that they're Asian. They definitely won't say that they're Black or European. So what race are they're Native American? There's no race called Native American, though. And then they pivot to, well, race is a social construct. Well, guess what else is a social construct? Calling yourself a Cherokee is a social construct. Choctaw, social construct. Seminole, social construct. Navajo, social construct. I mean, how far do we want to go with this? Yeah, no, but when you say that, it's like you can't call them Asian. Like we have to be called African, right? No, no, y'all actually descend from Africa. It's like, no, I don't. But then you said that these so-called natives descend from Asia. So isn't it accurate for me to call them Asian? No, no, don't call them Asian. But you said they descend from there. Yeah, 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 yeah. But they became a new group forged here. Oh, just like foundational Black Americans. We became a new group forged here. People that were reclassified, people that were enslaved, people that were free, people that were, forcibly penetrated by their slave masters. That's an entirely new identity, an entirely new ethnic and racial makeup. So you'll honor it with one group, but then try to say, no, no, it doesn't make sense with the other group. It's just the hypocrisy because it serves a benefit to make us generic Africans and to displace us from this land. So we're looking to a foreign, distant land so that you can't claim what's yours here. You feel me? Imagine you from Oakland. You feel me? Town business, East Oakland. Yeah, that's right. But they have you looking to Utah, right? So you never get to stand on what you're owed in East Oakland because you think that you should be building something in Utah, but it's like you haven't even got what you were supposed to receive in East Oakland. You definitely ain't finna get it in Utah with a different climate, different racial demographics. Like, what are you thinking, right? So they want you, hey, go to this place that we've already destabilized and try to build up there. Go and pull yourselves up by your bootstraps here. We're the most as dysfunctional as we are. We're more organized than any other melanated population around the globe. They talk about Pan-Africanism, right? This is why I don't support Pan-Africanism because it's a joke. And this is why people talk about Pan-Goofy. I'm a humanitarian, so I support the upliftment, the enrichment, and the enfranchisement of humans across the world. I don't discriminate based on race, religion, creed, and ethnicity. Others do that to us, but I don't do that, right? So for me, it's not just if you have a similar level of melanin, because where should the most Pan-African, the highest level of Pan-Africanism, where should it be practiced at? In Africa. Africans aren't united there. That's what Pan-African is, uniting, uplifting each other based on a shared African identity. Guess what? Africa, 3,000 different tribes, 54 countries, 2,000 plus dialects. Does that sound united to you? Imagine you were in Texas and you went from Dallas to Houston, but you couldn't understand the people in Houston because they speak an entirely different dialect. Imagine you live in Oakland and you drive to San Jose, but you can't understand the people in San Jose because they speak an entirely different dialect. You in New York, you go to New Jersey, you can't understand the people in New Jersey because it's a whole new world and they speak a different dialect. What is unified about that? You got North Africans that don't even want to say they're African. Forget I know black poppy, I know African poppy, right? I am not an Abid. I am not a slave. They try to call North Africa. No, I am Middle Eastern. But guess what? There's no race called Muslim. There's no race called Middle Eastern. And there's no race called Arab. So again, what race are these Arabs? You just accept their ethnic identity of being Arab, but that's not a racial identity. So again, what race are most of these Arabs? You haven't even thought about it. What race are many of these Muslims? You haven't even thought about it. You just accept them being Muslim. Are all Muslims created the same? Are all Muslims just interchangeable simply because they read the Quran? No, you understand the racial, the ethnic distinctions and nuances, but only when it comes to other groups. There's no race called Arabs. There's white Arabs and black Arabs. But when you think of an Arab, you think of a person, a caricature of someone that looks like Bin Laden or someone that says, welcome to 7-Eleven. Is that what all Muslims look and sound like, though? Fair questions to ask. But yeah, I appreciate you said natives are just white now very white. And this is what I'm saying. And then they've convinced you that if a black foundational black American freedman claims any native ancestry, y'all just some pretendians, you from Africa. And then meanwhile, you got these Lily W's. I'm talking about many of them look like Justin Bieber, Macaulay Culkin. Who else? Name somebody else. They look like a bunch of Backstreet Boys, and those are the tribal chiefs. And people are like, they're indigenous. He's a chief of the Cherokee, and the great history of Cherokees is like, yeah, but the history of Cherokees, like, the tribal chiefs didn't look like that. And it's like, oh, shut up, you just hating, you know what I mean? You're from Africa anyways, right? You know what I mean? But again, they're not saying these so-called natives are Asian. And then they'll say, well, yeah, maybe they was Asian, but they came from Asia 10,000 years ago. So it's like, okay, yeah, but when did they stop being Asian, right? Because in 1,000 years, they still gonna call you a generic African. In 10,000 years, they still gonna keep calling you a generic African. So again, these people were able to strip their Asiatic identity and assume an American identity. And think about this. They're called Native Americans when they said they were resisted being called American, which is why they had those reservations. Those reservations were completely different sovereign lands. So how could they be American when they're saying, hey, look, you already stole our land. We don't want to further bend the knee and capitulate to you. So yeah, we'll have our reservations, but those reservations had their own name. And then they'll say, oh, well, this was Turtle Island. Compared to who? There were so many different tribes. Not every tribe conceded that this place was called Turtle Island. And then if you were indigenous, why don't you say you're indigenous to Turtle Island? Instead, you're trying to say, well, I'm indigenous to America, this land. You know what I mean? Okay. Like when you start digging deeper, it just starts getting, people can't truly stand on it. Okay, fine. This place is Turtle Island. What percentage of the population agreed to call it that? There was no poll taken. There wasn't a meeting of all the native tribes and said, hey, look, I know we're fighting with each other, but we're going to call this place Turtle Island. No, they were fighting with each other. You know what I mean? And that's how some of the reason why the colonial powers was able to exploit that. It doesn't justify anything that they did. But yeah, and we got a salute to John. Seeing where you been, bro? You a little late, cuz. One of the illest and the dopest with a pen. You said, how do I feel about, hold on. How do I feel about Messiah Garvey? I already spoke on that. Garvey is a mixed bag, you know what I mean? Because he said and done some good things, but he said and done a lot of shady things. There was a whole Garvey must go movement. I might have to just break it down. I lean towards, more of the shady side. I do compartmentalize, like I talked to you on your stream the other day. I compartmentalize and can say, hey, look, I agree with this that Marcus did, this what he did, this what he said. But then there's a lot of other toxic tethering that he did as well. For instance, you from the town, right? Imagine a cat that said he's the king of Oakland, but he never set foot in Oakland. This dude says he's the king of Oakland, but he lives in Columbia somewhere. You wouldn't really respect that. You like, bro, how are you the king of Oakland? I'm the one, you feel me, get in the stripes. I'm the one, feeding the neighborhood. I'm the one enforcing, things that go left in the neighborhood. If anything, I should be the king of Oakland, right? So that's what Garvey was doing. He was trying to call himself a provisional king of Africa, and he never been to Africa. That itself is kind of opposite. And then he was trying to get a bunch of black Americans to go to Africa. Yeah, Africa, y'all homeland. I never been, but I'm the king. And then he created like this failed train to like quote unquote repatriate it. So again, like what is with this obsession of trying to get us to quote unquote go back to Africa? When you say go back, that implies that you've been there, but no one in my family has ever been there. So then it's like, oh yeah, you got to go back hundreds of years. You just didn't go back far enough. It just doesn't make any sense. And they're not telling any other group to do that. Like I said, there's many recent Africans that were dropped to Haiti, but they're not told to call themselves African Haitian. But you said you're on the move. Okay, I got you. Let me pull this back up, John. Give me one moment.
A lineage, okay? It is not a ethnicity. However, the way modern day Pan-Africanists want it to be, they want you to denounce your ethnicity and your lineage to adopt a very general lineage of just being from Africa, being a descendant of Africa in some shape, form, or fashion. So that's kind of to break down. And we've done many lives and videos on that. So you guys can go through the catalog and y'all can listen to that. So that's to break this down. Now, he's talking about Dr. Umar. He's talking about the verdict of Rick Chow. Okay. Now we know Rick Chow was acquitted of essentially.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. It's not really up to you. And this is okay. Fine, you got to lead by example. Imagine it's like, man, I'm having a pool party, bro, and I just want everybody to jump in the pool, man, so y'all can just enjoy the pool and swim. And it's like, bro, you gonna jump in the pool? Nah, I ain't gonna jump in the pool. I'm just organizing for y'all to jump in the pool. But it's like, that's a little bit weird. This your pool party. Do you want to jump in? Nah, I don't want to jump in. So it just starts looking a little bit sketchy. All your whole thing is saying I'm the king of Africa, and you're organizing people to go back to Africa, a place that you never been. And we supposed to see that as good. Yeah. He tried to get them to go back to a place that they never been. How about you lead by example and go? If he had went, maybe it wouldn't be as shady. Then there were things where they said he fumbled the money. There was a case where some dude was supposed to testify against him, and then he ended up unalived, and there was some foul play that was suspected. So like I said, it's a mixed bag. Some people, they've only been told the glorified story, and then they try to say, see, it be your own people. Yeah, it be your own people that sell you out. So don't try to tell me to not call out someone selling out or tethering because of skin pigment, right? Because Marcus Garvey is not of my lineage. He's Jamaican. Just because we have a skin pigment, we can't try to pretend we're the same. And that's the type of stuff we're on. He has a certain level of melanin. You have a certain level of melanin. Y'all the same. No, we're not. Are you Jamaican? I'm not Jamaican. I'm not. I didn't grow up eating jerk chicken. I didn't grow up eating curry goat. Nothing wrong with that. That's of a different culture, a distinct culture. Trying to collapse it and pretend like it's all the same. It all it is serve. It just helps make the ethnic and cultural erasure even that, much easier. You know what I mean? Always think of it like this, sushi originated in Japanese culture, right? Filipinos don't try to take credit for sushi because they know that, hey, yeah, we're racially Asian, but we can't take credit for what another ethnically Asian group has done. You know what I mean? But other groups will do that, right? We create hip hop. Hey, I got a similar level of melanin, so we all created hip hop. No, you didn't. Like, bro, you're from Burkina Faso. There was no hip hop created there. Salute to you. But then, you feel me? I don't try to take credit for some pyramids built in Egypt. I can say that they were some Nubian or melanated people that done that. I don't pretend as if that was an accomplishment for my specific lineage. You know what I mean? Because there's a difference between, again, like the whole concept of race is just like relatively new. And then people try to reach back in time and look at things through a racial lens. But yeah, and the thing is, Jamaicans wasn't even rocking with Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey got put on here, right? He had to go and retire off, in Britain somewhere, and he passed away there, in obscurity. You know what I mean? It's not to demean. It's just like y'all can kind of look this up. He went to Jamaica, right? And the Jamaicans, right? He was doing all this Pan-Africanism, right? And then he was meeting with the Klan. He was having these meetings with the Klan. He was calling us stupid. He was trying to get us back to Africa. Meanwhile, he was trying to run for president of Jamaica. So remember, he's calling himself the king of Africa, a place he never been. He tried to run for president in his homeland, Jamaica, and they voted for a Lily W person over him. Now, you can blame the people that, hey, why they vote for a person? And that's a fair question to ask, which shows you how colonized and how buck broken many of the mentality of those people are over there now and at the time. But then you also got to ask, was he a snake oil salesman and the people just seen through him? These are fair questions to ask. We can't kind of lionize or deify anyone. You see people that have no issues throwing Malcolm X, whatever dirty history they believe, under the bus. They try to say MLK, Charlie Kirk, you know what I mean? Who got clipped and clapped in the neck, right? He was saying MLK was a horrible person. But then all I asked them, okay, fine, MLK was a horrible person. Who is the white version of MLK? And you know what I hear after that? Crickets. They try to say MLK was bad, but then in the very next sentence, they'll praise not only a person who was a slave owner, but someone that engaged in, that was a MAP. And I'm being funny with that. A person that was a minor attracted person, right? i.e. a pedo, right? They'll praise pedos, but then they'll say, well, MLK was bad. Okay, fine. If MLK was so bad, who is the white version of MLK? Who is the Asian version of MLK? Who is the Mexican version of MLK? Yeah, he had one, Cesar Chavez, and then they threw him under the ringer recently, said that, he was some sick, twisted, person who forcibly penetrated chicks, right? So then again, who is the Latino version of MLK? They love to talk, they love to quote our people, right? They love to quote Fred Hampton. They love to quote MLK. Where are the quotes from the Latinos? Y'all have no quotes from Latino civil rights leaders? Oh, I got a quote. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. And if you want me to, I can pull it up. The Latino civil rights said, hey, I do not want to ally with the Negro. Let the Negro fight his own battle. And now fast forward and they're talking about, where's all the blacks to help us with ice? No, I ain't helping you with sugar honey iced tea. 'Tis the season to hold your own nuts. Let's get back into it.
Actually lynching Cyrus Belton, a 14-year-old black boy who was running away from him. And we've already done a couple of videos on that. So you guys can go check that out. Now, what Dr. Umar says here, though, is actually pretty interesting. So we're going to listen to it. All right, here we go.
Traveling with your gun is a roll of the dice because the truth is, one small mistake, whether you...
And just an aside, because and shout out to the bro with the ad revenue. But yeah, hey, I keep a biscuit on me, and I ain't talking about from Popeyes. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do a whole other stream about firearms. So if y'all in the chat and you own a firearm, or you would be interested in a stream about firearms, let me know, because I do have some people who are veterans, and then I was thinking about having a like an actual firearm instructor come on here, because I want to dispel some of the myths, because a lot of times when they talk about gun control, but they don't talk about gun ownership in a responsible way, right? They try to make you and I'm gonna get back into the stream, but since that ad came up, I just want to try to touch on this with y'all, right? They love to try to paint these cities as war zones. What about Chicago, right? They try to call it Chirac, saying that it's akin to a war zone. Well, guess what I need with a war zone? What would you rather have in a war zone? A firearm or a cell phone? They've convinced you that, hey, no, we need to get rid of the guns for the legal citizens. But then guess what? Criminals are still going to have firearms. The whole point of being a criminal is either knowing the law and disregarding it, or not knowing the law and disregarding it. That's the whole point of criminality. Yeah, you wasn't supposed to be selling pounds and you still sold it. Yeah, you wasn't supposed to have 50 rounds and you still packed it, right? Some people are willing to take that risk over saying, oh my God, someone broke into my house, and then you rush to get a cell phone. In a good neighborhood, it will take a cop 3 to 8 minutes to get there. What do you think is going to happen in a bad neighborhood? They usually come 30 minutes later, an hour later. After that, the body done already dropped. I'm already RIP to me. I'm not going to let that happen. If I go out, I'm going out with a bang, bang, bang. You feel me? Bang, bang, bang. You feel me? Like John Witherspoon, RIP. But this is what I'm saying. I'm not advocating violence. I'm not promoting chaos or mayhem, but I do promote responsible gun ownership. So if y'all are interested in that stream, let me know and I will set that up. I do plan on setting it up anyways, but if y'all are really interested, I definitely will have the instructor come on and you will have a fruitful discussion. But yeah, they say you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. So again, if someone breaks in my house and they have a firearm, I'm not going to try to run down and get a kitchen knife or a butter knife or any type of knife. I'm pulling out that blammer and wherever I send you, you better hope that you get sent to the upper room. It's either the upper room or the basement, but I'm just saying, protect yourself at all costs. And y'all know Malcolm, right? What was one of the most iconic photos that you've seen Malcolm? He was looking out the window. He had something in his hand when he was looking out the window. What did he have in his hand? Yeah, that's the type of time I'm on. He wasn't going around, oh no, yo, I'm finna slide on my ops. No, I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to defend my country and I'm going to defend my community. Don't start none, won't be nothing. And that's all we saying. So I am a 2A supporter. And, I know that might trigger somebody. Oh my God, like people get triggered off firearms. But guess what? And let me talk to the ladies, right? There's a lot of beautiful ladies that subscribe to me. So salute to them. There's a lot of beautiful ladies in the country, right? There's some obnoxious horn dogs out there. There are some sick, disgusting pervs and creeps. And maybe you have a loving husband, a loving boyfriend, a loving brother, and he may be busting his butt working a hard 9-to-5 job. He may not be able to help you, hey, if you try to reach the phone and call him, but guess what else will help you? That great equalizer, a firearm. So I especially promote firearm ownership and usage for women, especially when they always talk about smash the patriarchy. Well, you ain't gonna smash the patriarchy with vibes. I don't believe in smashing the patriarchy, but I'm being a little bit facetious with that. But yeah, when you think about you have a wife or something, a sister who's petite, there's a bunch of obnoxious horn dogs out there. No, I want them packing so that these people could think twice. And if you got to fill them up with some hot lead, hey, boo, do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Send them to the upper room and let God figure it out. Or let Lucifer call them home down in the basement. I'm just saying, either way, you live to strive another day. And shout out to Cloudness. Cloudness said he keep his blicky. That boy Cloudness, that boy stay with a blicky icky. You said free Dexter Taylor. And Dexter Taylor, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was in NY. I believe he had some 3D printed guns that I think was legal. I think the guns that he was printing were legal. And somehow he got railroaded. And where's the NRA? The NRA thinks that talking about race is woke. Meanwhile, they'll ignore Black people's rights being infringed upon just because they say, oh, well, it happened to a Black person. But I thought you guys didn't see color. I thought you cared about standing up for 2A rights regardless of color. So the NRA is pathetic. They were the ones behind the push. California used to be open carry. And then when the Black Panthers went to the state capitol building with their firearms, which was legal at the time, then they said, oh, no, we can't have those niggas open and carrying. They weren't threatening to shoot anybody. Well, actually, they did threaten. They said, hey, y'all cops want to keep popping us in the street, we gonna pop back. They didn't say we're gonna initiate the pow-powing. They said, if y'all shoot us, we gonna shoot back. We gonna clap back. We gonna clap back. I mean, what is wrong with that? Don't start none, won't be nothing. If they don't clap at us, there's nothing to clap back at. They thought that they saw that as an affront and said, hey, we can't have these niggers with a firearm, right? Even though what they did was legal, by overnight, they made it illegal on paper. And you said, I don't get triggered, I pull triggers. Hey, I respect it, right? By any means necessary, I will defend my life. And to all these cats that think they so tough, you know what? You can be the hardest, I'll just be the smartest. I won't even hold you. When you start telling me how gangster you are, you know what? I think you're Tony Montana. I think you're Frank Lucas. I think you're Rayful Edmonds. I think you're Tookie Williams. When you start threatening me, guess what? I start to fear for my life. So that means when you get anywhere in my vicinity, remember, I fear for my life. So that's why I had to one up top you. That's why I had to boom bap you and get you up out of here. But it's only for the fear of my life. But let's get back into it. But before I do, I got to give a shout out to the hardest working mod on YouTube, Vibrant Low. Appreciate you. Okay, right on, Roger. You know I try to stay abreast with my people, and it looks like the people are starting to roll in, so I'm going to get back into it. I present to you Umar Johnson.
Here we go. Here we go.
Asian privilege in white America. Asian privilege in white America. Remember, the white man loves the East Indians and the Asians because they are small populations, first of all, but they're growing. They're upwardly mobile, and they share the same hate towards black people as they do. So they're protecting Asians and Chinese and Asians because, first of all, white people numbers are dwindling.
Yes.
And they're going to substitute Asians and East Indians for them in this country, not to mention America needs East India, because they're the fastest growing population in the world. They're the tech giant of the world. America cannot afford to be on bad terms with India, because if India links up with Russia and China, America got problems. And Donald Trump just signed what? An agreement with China worth billions of dollars. They can't afford to upset the Chinese people. So guess what? Chinese Americans and Chinese immigrants, East Indian Americans and East Indian immigrants, they're always going to be protected by the government because of Donald Trump's relationship with India and China. And this is
all right.
Why is he making these faces like he just laid something heavy? Of course, these groups have always been protected. That's what we've been saying. That's the whole concept of a model minority. A model minority is saying that you are our pet demographic. Hey, don't act like the niggas. Act like we want y'all to do. Act, step, fetch, jump. You know, when we say jump, y'all say how high. And guess what? Oh, y'all jumped when we said jump. Look, you're the model minority. See, why can't y'all be like them? They're the model minority. That's extremely disrespectful to allow yourself to be called that, right? And I might have to pull it up, since y'all don't want to hear it from me. I'll pull up a Asian Chinese person saying how, you know, the soft bigotry in that term, right? So he acting like he just laid something heavy, saying, oh man, they protecting the Asians. Of course, they're protecting all of these other groups. That's the whole point. That's the concept of a buffer group. They bring these groups in to displace us. These groups are supposed to be above the niggas, but never up to contend against the power structure, so they can say, hey, look, what white supremacy? It ain't no racism. See, the same group just keeps being at the bottom. See, look, Asians are doing well. Latinos are doing well. See, it's not about race. It's not about white supremacy. It's just about those blacks. They want to stay at the bottom. And then they say, no, it's not about the blacks, because look at the Africans. Those Nigerians are doing so much better, right? So all of these other groups are brought over, and they're willing participants, right? They don't look at the system of white supremacy and say, damn, man, what they doing to the black foundational black American freedmen is rather disgusting. They don't say that. They come and pile on. They agree with all of the, with all of the disparaging things that are said about us. And then when ICE starts to, threaten their comfortability, because there's no mass deportations going on. There's just theatrical and controversial deportations. And then they're still begging, well, all the black people went, well, what will we come out there for? And shout out to Big Rig. I appreciate you sliding through, Mr. 350. The big block boat rider, I appreciate you. And Melanated is still rocking. I like Melanated, the majestic, because she is very cerebral. You know what I mean? She's very inquisitive as well. You know what I mean? She likes to learn, but she's also teaching as well. So I'm here to learn and teach. So Black Panther's mistake was they wasted time going to Sacramento and protesting, not a single white face near protesting with them, instead of using that time to get signatures. I had touched on this as well. In spirit, It was good, right? They wanted to exercise. Now, it did accomplish what they want to do because there at that time, it was kind of a ploy to say, look, man, we stand on business. They wanted to legitimize themselves. They want to raise money. So they did accomplish that goal in raising the money, which helped fund, some other projects and resources. But ultimately, it's kind of like, picking your battles more strategically and wisely. So I thought that, while they should have been able, what they did wasn't illegal, but I thought it was misguided. And yes, that energy and that organization could have been better served. But remember, these were very young dudes. They were in their 20s. Some of those people were 18, 21. Now there's people that are 31, 41, 51. Matter of fact, there's people that are 71 and still haven't recreated what the Panthers do. There's a lot of people that say the Panthers should have did this. Was like, well, all the stuff that the Panthers should have done. Have you done any of that? Well, no. So it's like, why are you even talking about what the Panthers should have done? You have all the answers, but you haven't implemented anything. Then they start giving excuses. So it's like, if you can give me an excuse now, but the Panthers, they didn't use any excuses back then. They had excuses that they could use. They just, they saw the excuses as obstacles to overcome. So why aren't you overcoming these obstacles? When you start talking like that, then suddenly, people don't want to listen to you anymore. They want to tune you out. But it's like, could you refute what I'm saying? And since you can't, then they rather leave. So I get it. You said, Pete, my profile picture now. Oh, you was talking to Roger. Okay, let's get back into it.
Let's talk about that real quick. Here's the thing with that, though. Rick Chow was, from some reports are saying.
So I'm going to fast forward a little bit because he, let me see what else he got to say.
Something like that. So, no.
Remember, Cuba had Russia. Fidel Castro was smart enough to know I cannot survive America without a diplomatic relationship with a world power. Where's Black America's diplomatic relationship with an African power? We don't have one. We foundational Black Americans. We American descendants of slaves. I don't even want to use the word African. I'm a foundational Black American. And look what you got. Foundational convictions, foundational murders. Any African in America who doesn't recognize the need for us to have a diplomatic, political, public relationship with some African countries is out of his damn mind. The only respect you get in America as a non-white person is based on the country you identified with.
God, are you kidding me? Hold on, bro. Do I gotta hit him again?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What? How please? Nigga, please. How?
Nigga, what?
Nigga. Nigga, please. Nigga, please. What?
And there's a reason that bro is always going on these channels where they just gonna give him a softball thing. They just let him cook, and then because he says something with conviction, you like, oh, he cooked. But it's like, bro, what did he really say? Man, we need to have diplomatic relationships with Africa. Okay, where's his diplomatic relationships? He's calling himself the Prince of Pan-Africanism, but he's always in America. He goes to Africa and it's transactional. He goes to Africa, does a dashiki, does a tribal line dance, and then suddenly he comes and wags his finger at FBA. We're the minority here. We're the minority here. He goes to an African nation where the majority of the population is African. Meanwhile, he has no smoke for them, no vitriol for them. We need diplomatic relationships with Africa. Okay, where's the olive branch? If these diplomatic relationships are so vital, so critical, where is the African Union to reach out to us? If we're all brothers and sisters and cousins from the motherland, think about this. This is supposed to be your motherland, but no one from your motherland came and got you. No one came to rescue you. No one came to fend. Instead, they came over here and said, hey, I'm not black. I'm Yoruba. I'm not black. I'm Igbo. They came over here and said, no, we're not the same. I'm not a slave. I'm not a nigga. I know my history. That's what they came over here and said. They didn't come over here and say, hey, we're here to free our brothers and sisters who were enslaved. Think about it. All of the enslaved history that you learn is from Western powers, is from American history. Where are all the African slave stories, right? Because they say, oh, our people were kidnapped. No, they weren't. Yeah, maybe some of them were. And then there's a reason why it was called a slave trade, because it was transactional. Yes, some were forced, some were coerced, some, not all. But where's their historical accounts, right? They talk about, oh, they're the oldest population and stuff, which is true. But where's your documentation? So if they have no documentation, whose documentation are we supposed to rely on? So then they'll tell them, y'all believe everything that the white man tell you. You know what? I'm going to discard everything that the dub man told me. Where's your history on slavery? Uh, uh, uh. If these are your cousins, your brothers, this is what they try to say. We all the same. We was just on different ships. How do you know we were the same? Like, where's the documentation? Oh, just trust me, bro. Like, we were the same. How could you say we were the same, but you have no documentation of it? It doesn't make any sense, but you've been convinced that, hey, they were all kidnapped. Okay, cool. Kidnapped from who? Who was the tribal leaders at the time? Because whose watch did it happen on, right? Because let's say you were working at Walmart, right? And a kid got kidnapped on your watch. They're going to be like, okay, who was the manager? Okay, who's covering the security detail? They're going to have some names to point. Okay, fine. All these people got kidnapped. And y'all saying we don't know our tribe. Okay, they got kidnapped from what tribe? Oh, we don't know what tribe. Okay, who is the tribal chief? We don't know. Actually, what country was it? Oh, well, we don't know. It was just somewhere in West Africa. It probably was Nigeria. It's like Nigeria didn't exist then. Yeah, it was called something else. Okay, what was it called? Well, I don't know. So it's like you don't know. It's like you just kind of winking it here. But then again, this is what you've been taught, right? A bunch of vague stuff that you don't just question, because we all African. Like, are we though? We the minority with universal appeal. Yeah, we are the standard. We are the source. We are the pulse. I mean, you don't have to like it, but it just kind of is what it is. Why is it always a one-sided attack against us? They never address the slick bull crap that they say about us. These people are here to take. They don't give a damn about us. And this is what I'm saying. That's why I don't have a lot of respect for Dr. Kumar. And I'm saying doctor loosely, you know what I mean? Because he's always trying to do this. It's like he's just, I don't like to use the term grifter, although he would fit that definition of grifter, because you're talking about all this Pan-Africanism. Imagine, and I don't like Bibi Netanyahu. I don't like him. I think he is a genocidal goon. But Bibi Netanyahu is standing on business for Israel in Israel. He wouldn't be able to do what he's doing if he was in Philadelphia. That's why he's in Israel standing on business for Israel. Ibrahim Traore, the reason why he's standing on business for Burkina Faso, even though some of the stuff he's doing is misguided, but hey, I respect what he's doing. He's doing that in Burkina Faso. He wouldn't be able to do that unless he was home. So all of these other people, I'm Pan-Africanist. Okay, why aren't you on the continent of Africa? You're on an entirely different continent trying to get people to go to a continent that you don't even want to live in. Umar doesn't want to live in Africa, but he's over here getting mad if you don't call yourself African. And think about this. Think about how sick and twisted this is. You're in America, on the continent of America. Your family was here before America was even a country. However, you're not supposed to claim that as a national identity, as a cultural identity. You're not supposed to stake any claim in the heritage in America. But then you're supposed to look to the distant motherland in Africa. And when you go to Africa, guess what they call you? Guess what they say that you are and identify you as in Africa? They say that you're American. Huh? I'm in America. Call yourself African. You go to Africa. Hey, my fellow American brother. Make it make sense. Umar is pissed that we're called. Nah, bro, we just gonna drop the African, because the thing is, we became black. And when we say black, black is just a color, not to us. Tell a white person white is just a color. No, that's not what it is to them, right? It describes a color and it describes many more things than that. None of our skin tone is black. When you talk about copper color, most foundational black Americans I know are copper colored. Many of them are yellow and red bone. And there's some that are as light as Steph Curry. There's a wide spectrum. You know what I mean? And guess what? Whether you like it or not, we've adopted that one drop rule. You know what I mean? So we've always stood on blackness. We stood on, even when they, in the 90s, when they had, remember this? I just had thought about this. When they was like raising money for colleges, it was called the United Negro College Fund. It wasn't called the United African College Fund. Wasn't called the United African American College Fund. All of this overly Africanizing of people was just relatively new. And all that is just to make you comparable with an immigrant, to try to say, hey, this is a nation of immigrants built by immigrants. So then you get desensitized to that language. And then when they say, since this is a nation of immigrants, you shouldn't matter if they displace your whole neighborhood with a bunch of undocumented citizens. Right? You can't say anything. You're an immigrant too. No, I'm not. Akon is an immigrant. Cynthia Erivo, Idris Elba, those are immigrants. There's no definition. All of us didn't come from Africa. Let's just be very clear. It just didn't happen. It's mathematically impossible. But for the sake of this argument, let's just say that we did all come from the motherland, which I don't believe, right? Where is the people that came back to get you? I'm just saying, just answer me that, right? But before I could cook, because I got some other points that I'm gonna make. You said Information did a show on Umar, and apparently they caught his house in disarray, aka a hoarder, and his mind is as cluttered as his home. Well, I didn't see that, but yeah. You said, and is we produce all hues. Yeah, that's why they say, you know, even when you look at the lighter skin, it can come from a black person, but on the flip side, you know, you don't really hear the juxtaposition of, you know, a white person, you know, producing a melanated person without another melanated person involved. You know what I mean? But that's true. We produce all hues. We accept all hues as well. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's in some regards has been detrimental, but for the most part, it's been done, you know, out of love and out of us showing that, we're not truly like xenophobic or colorist or anything like that. Like people love to put that like kind of colorist label, but colorism, all colorism is just a feature, a bug, and an aspect of white supremacy. Because when you talk about colorism, it's about favoring a particular color, discriminating on other colors of skin pigmentation in favor of another color. But what's the color that's always favored? Lighter, brighter, whiter skin, because colorism is just it's people try to like collapse these terms as into different terms, but it's just white supremacy is racism, right? There's other forms of racism, but like white supremacy is racism in a nutshell, and under that umbrella of white supremacy is colorism, you know what I mean? But above the white supremacy is tribalism, you know what I mean? So it's like tribalism is the granddaddy of them all, you know what I mean? It births all these other isms, you know what I mean? But let's get back into it though. But like he's talking about, oh, we need to have these diplomatic relationships with Africa. Nigga, you claim to be the Prince of Pan Africa, but you have no ties to Africa. Look at this nigga's face, bruh. Like, what are you so mad about, bruh? And it's always this one-sided vitriol. Show me the video of him talking to an African leader, scolding them what they need to do. You know how much corruption, filth, and sellout sambos and tethers it is on the continent of Africa? They're letting any non-black person come over there and smack them around. The Chinese people, they let any light figure. Look at Jamaica, right? Did you know that the majority of Jamaicans can't even enjoy their beaches? That's truly their motherland. Did you know that the majority of Jamaicans don't even live in Jamaica? Huh? So you're flying a flag of a place that you fled and don't even want to go back to. But then again, I'm supposed to tip my hat to that. Okay. Yeah, he is pissed. It's like, come on, bro. Like, what are you so pissed about? No, this is how people are pissed about that school. Nigga, where's the school? And I ain't even one of those cats that be on bro line like that. Like, where's the school? But then again, you talking about all these diplomatic relationships that we need to have. Nigga, you've been milking the community for, bro, from racks on top of racks, racks on top of racks. But guess where he's getting that money from? He's getting the money from foundational Black Americans. He's not getting the money from any Pan-Africans. There's no African nation that's funding this nigga. So this is just rather pathetic, right? And then because someone has a couple degrees, or they can talk fast, or they say something to pander toward you, then, you know, it's like, well, he do got a point. No, he will make some occasional good points that, you know, he'll destroy his own points with his own, you know, coonery and buffoonery. But let's run that back one more again. He's talking about we need diplomatic relationships. Look, he's expecting regular, average Joe, rank and file people to develop some diplomatic relationships with Africa. But meanwhile, the nigga who calls himself a Prince of Pan-Africanism, you have done nothing to establish those types of diplomatic relationships. Who are you to wag your little fat, chunky little fingers? Let's get back into it, though.
All right. Here's the thing. He set this very reaching, weird setup with Rick Chow being like some type of conspiracy with the consequences of some World War III thing, and that's why he's protected all Asians. They get away with all crimes because they're protected because America's so scared of pissing off some other country. Okay, that's a reach, but he did that to set up this diss that he's going to say, well, what is our connection with some African power? Now, I think there's a couple of things that need to be said with this. Number one, first and foremost, you being foundational should not at all mean that you can't have a geopolitical connection or partnership, allyship with any African nation. It shouldn't mean that. The whole premise is that we have to now identify with another nation in order for that nation to aid us and assist us in all of that. We shouldn't have to do all of that. That wasn't necessary.
And then think about what he's literally asking, right? So white Americans in America, right? They get allyship from whether it be France, right? Whether it be France, Italy, you pick a European nation that you would consider a predominantly white nation, right? They don't look at white Americans and say, hey, we was going to be y'all ally, but y'all ain't calling y'all selves European. White people don't go around calling themselves European. But guess what they are? European. They use the term white. They tell you don't use black because black is just a color. But white is a color that they have no issues using. They have no issues calling themselves white or Caucasian. Neither of those words are European. They seem to be getting along just fine. Of course, they, you know, have their civil wars and, you know, the toxic things that tribal groups do, but fine, right? They're still able to work together. But with us, oh man, we can't work with y'all because y'all want to call yourselves foundational Black American. Y'all don't even want to use the term African. Africans on the continent of Africa aren't even calling themselves African. There's 3,000 different tribes. There's no tribe called African. 3,000 different tribes. None of them are African. But then they come over here and then you have to pretend that you're all the same. They're on the continent looking at people that look like them and saying we're all different. They come over here, they have a different hairline, a different nose, different jaw, different bone structure. But because they have melanin and they came from, you know, a large landmass in Africa, you have to pretend as if you're the same. When they're coming from a place where they're all saying that they're different, make it make sense. And I say, fine, if we're all the same, right? I'm no different than a Jamaican person. I'm no different than a Senegalese person. I'm no different than someone from Niger or Mali. Fine, I ain't gonna hold you. But y'all know my acronym, Cecil, SL, same energy, same logic. Keep the same energy, apply the same logic. If we all the same and we one just generic African, all Asians are the same, right? Why shouldn't I give Filipinos credit for samurai and ninja culture? They're all Asian, right? I'm going to say that Koreans created lumpia. Why should I care? They're all Asian. And I'm going to look at a Japanese person and say, you know what? You're no different than someone from Thailand. You know why? Because you're all Asian. I'll look at a Mexican person and say, you're no different than someone from Venezuela. I look at a Colombian and say, you look just like someone from Brazil and your culture is the same. Don't tell me that it's not, because you guys are Latino and Latinos are the same. If all so-called blackity blacks are the same, we can't try to pretend, right? Y'all don't want the affirmative action, DEI, and double standards. So we ain't gonna do triple standards or quadruple standards. If all people with melanin, no matter where they were born, no matter what their heritage is, no matter what their lineage is, if we're all the same, right? We're all just Africans. Jamaicans are Africans. Foundational Black Americans are African. Haitians are African. We're all just African. Cool. Chinese people are Asian. Filipinos are Asian. They're all just Asian. And matter of fact, we should push. Why is there a Chinatown? It shouldn't be Chinatown. That's discriminatory. Shouldn't it be Asia Town? Right? Why is there a Koreatown? And matter of fact, for all the people, we all the same. If we're all the same, why are you trying to create your own little ethnic enclave? Why is there a little Haiti? I thought you said we were the same. I'm not Haitian. So why are you delineating and creating a whole separate enclave based on how different you are? This is little Jamaica, but I'm not Jamaica, and this isn't Jamaica. You don't want to live in Jamaica, but you want to come to America and try to make America like a piece of Jamaica that you don't want to go back to? Okay. I told you he's mad because you messing up his money. Yeah, bro blocked me. I don't know what I did or said, but Umar Johnson, he blocked me. And it's like, bro, what I'm saying, I was being mild, but once he blocked me, I had to ramp up the pressure. I don't even know even what I said. So it's like, hey, salute to Umar, though. But just like Roland Martin with the Dem Party, you're supposed to let them grift off our community. He doesn't need you introducing integrity into his grift. Correct. This is why he's always wagging his fingers at us. But if you look at all the filth that's going on in Africa, it will make your head spin. But he has nothing to say. And I appreciate you, Melanated. Salute to the majestic. And I knew that I was thinking about you too, because I was like, I sent her the link. I was like, I was wondering, did Melanated just ask for the link? I was like, I hope she really went through that list, because when I sent that list to people, there's like, bro, I didn't even know about it. And on that stream, Melanated, I didn't even really get like 25% through. Like I could have kept going and going. I would have just been like the Energizer Bunny. It's disgusting. And this is why I don't let people get away. I got black fatigue. No, you don't. The same people say they got black fatigue. If you looked at their search history, you would see that they were on Bang Bros looking at XXX videos of BBC ramrodding the most beautiful white chicks from behind. It's like, I thought you had black fatigue. Like, why are you watching Wesley Pipes and Long John Dilver and whoever, Brian Pumper or whoever these cats? You're watching all of this BBC corn videos, right? You listen to rap. They say they got black fatigue, and then they're watching BBC videos, and then they go listen to a rap song, and then they go watch Boys in the Hood. And I was like, okay, after Boys in the Hood, what you gonna watch? Menace to Society? It's like, I thought you had black fatigue though. And I appreciate that. That's why you are the majestic. Let's get back into it though. But Umar Johnson, like, do better than this, bruh.
He just mentioned when Cuba and Russia were teaming up, Cubans didn't have to identify as Russians, and Russians didn't demand. That's them saying, hey, if y'all want to come over here, if y'all have money, y'all can. All right. Why do you, Umar, why are you not upset at Africa for not trying to extend any type of partnership, some national partnership? Is always on us. You know what I'm saying? Despite the fact that the olive branch has been extended from us to them several times and have been rejected. It's like a computer. You keep pinging other computers. That's when computers send signals to each other and it comes back nothing. We're sending mail and we're not getting anything in return from these African nations. That's my thing. You're talking about the benefits of that. You need to be hollering at them because they're not on that. They're not even on that with other African nations. They ain't doing that with other African nations on no big scale like that. They ain't been doing that. There's a little finesse going around with reparations for real, but I was really to get the bag. But for when it comes to aid, when it comes to representation, when it comes to speaking up for each other, standing up for each other, helping each other, and all of that stuff, they don't do that. They don't.
No, they don't. So again, we're talking about Pan-Africanism, right? There's no Pan-Africanism on the continent of Africa. You got North Africans who are literally African. I'm not African. I'm Middle Eastern. I'm Muslim. I'm Arab. They try to say they're anything but African. So West Africans can't even unite with North Africans. East Africans can't even unite with North Africans. And then we're supposed to get flooded with West Africans, North Africans, Central Africans. All of these Africans get flooded into a so-called black neighborhood. These people who were fighting, beating each other, cutting off women's clitorises, cutting off hands and limbs. This is what they were doing in their homeland. This is what they were doing in the motherland. And we're supposed to pretend that when they come over here, they're all on some Pan-African starry-eyed utopia type of thinking that we're just going to come together and sing Kumbaya. We're going to roast marshmallows and tell slave stories and scary camp stories. Does anyone think that that's what's going to happen? We know what is going to happen. So people need to talk about leading by example. Shouldn't the example be led by Africa? It's in the name. Pan-Africanism. It's not called Pan-Americanism, even though I do support that, right? Pan-Africanism is about Africa, not America. But somehow, who are they looking to lead Pan-Africanism into prominence? You guessed it. Foundational Black Americans. Where are the Africans on the continent of Africa leading Africa into the promised lands? Instead, many of them are trying to get the heck out of there. What is there to respect about that? What is there to look up to, right? The reason why people want to flee here and say it's the land of opportunity and the milk and honey, yeah, it wasn't always like that. Someone had to fight, bleed, and die for it to be like that. These people love their homeland so much that they're willing to fly the flag. Yes, I'm a product of this place. And then you send them back and they think that it's a death sentence to send them back. But I thought you loved this place so much. You love flying the flag. You love claiming the place. It's just you hate going back there. No one hates Africa more than someone who fled. Ask them. I mean, look at Akon. Akon was supposed to go build Akon City. There was something in Akon was talking about, man, if African Americans just recognize their true power and go back to Africa. And I'm like, once again, why is Akon calling us an African American? But he won't call himself a Senegalese American. So he'll try to call us African American as if he's distinguishing us. But then he'll also call himself an African American. Like, bro, which one is it, bro? You're a Senegalese immigrant, which there's nothing wrong with. But then you're also trying to tether on to the lineage and say, we went through this and we went through that. No, we didn't. I went through that and my family went through that. Your family went through something different. I would love to hear what they went through. Just stop trying to pretend as if it was Jim Crow, Dead Pianist, Crockman. And like Cloudness says, yeah, y'all mad at FBA, but y'all are EBA. Everywhere but Africa, or ABAs, anywhere but Africa. FBAs is divisive. No, what's divisive is on the continent, 3,000 tribes. Does that sound united, right? And if you guys are united, why do you need to have 3,000 different tribes? Why can't those 3,000 different tribes be collapsed under one African banner? That's not what they want. So if they don't want that in Africa, why are you trying to wag your fingers at us and pretend like, hey, you guys are xenophobic if you don't want to unite? It's like Africa doesn't want to unite. I'm just keeping the same energy. Later, for where the pain Africans are, I want to know, where's that Haitian lady that called us dirty black Americans? I'm putting an APB out on her. Nigga, I don't know. Shit, you could look for her. I really don't care about that chick. But like, forget her, because she's just one person. I don't care about one person saying disparaging things. What I care about, where are the Haitians to come and denounce that, right? There should be like, a very prominent Haitian figure to denounce that, because that's what they try to do with us. They go try and get some sort of public figure and talk bad on FBA and all this other stuff, right? But where's the public Haitian figure to like completely denounce that, right? Where's the public Nigerian that has ever said, I grew up calling black Americans cicadas, and my parents told us not to stay around. You don't hear prominent figures saying that. Even God free or God flee, he doesn't really say that. He tries to say, oh, I'm standing up for both. No, you're not really standing up for us, and we don't need you to stand up for us, Godfrey. What we need to tell you is to tell how toxic your community was, because they love to say, I got called an African booty scratcher. Like, no, you didn't. And we call that to each other. Everything that you got called, we got called. She's hiding in the hood trying to dodge the Iceman. Yeah, let's get back into it.
And we have to be honest about that. We have to tell the truth. So you can't blame speaking up for each other, standing up for each other, helping each other, and all of that stuff. They don't do that. They don't. And we have to be honest about that. We have to tell the truth. So you can't blame us for any type of lack of connection. They're the ones who are rejecting that. They not trying to do that on no massive scale. Which African nation is? If I'm wrong, which one is? Which one is? With no type of paying or anything like that, be all like, hey man, I'm gonna represent.
And then think about how pathetic this is, right? The African nations won't stand up for themselves, but then they went and stood up for free Palestine. South Africa went up there and like, oh my God, it's a genocide, which is horrible, right? I don't want what's happening to the Palestinians to continuously happen to them. But Palestinians don't go around calling themselves African. Isn't Palestine considered to be placed in North Africa? But they're like, no, that's not North Africa. That's the Middle East, right? So Palestinians consider themselves more Middle Eastern. They don't really consider themselves North African like that. I mean, they do on paper, because there will be a new box on the census starting 2030. It will be titled MENA, Middle Eastern North African, right? So when it's advantageous, they believe, then they'll say that. But in their daily life, they stand on their national, hey, I'm Palestinian, I'm Gazan, right? I'm Arab, I'm Muslim, more so than them saying that they're African, right? And if they say they're African, they got to make sure that they're North African, right? You know what I mean? You got to make sure that the North is in there to try to distinguish, well, I'm not sub-Saharan, right? That's essentially what they're saying. But all of these are, relatively made up terms. But tell me any of the so-called Arab or the Muslim nations that are standing up for the so-called African melanated nations, right? Egypt has ethnically cleansed, the history, and they're essentially trying to say that, hey, like, these Arabs, Egyptian is Arab land, but there's no race called Arab, right? There was an Arab invasion. If you invade a place, that means somebody else was there. All you got to do, you don't even have to be a scholar, right? All you got to do is look up, when were the pyramids built? And then look up, when was the Egyptian Arab invasion. So if the Arabs invaded after the pyramids were built, clearly they didn't build them. I mean, doesn't really take that much. It's just that simple, right? I mean, it's the same thing with Christopher Columbus. He comes, he sees people already here, and then he says he discovers it. He's seen a whole civilization, a whole population, and then you believe that, hey, well, he discovered it. Why? Because he said so? Well, yeah, because basically he said so, and then he wrote it down, and then he mass distributed it. So then that made it true. But that's no different than someone calling you a snitch, and then they mass distribute that around the neighborhood, and you don't have a chance to respond to the allegation. No, it is true. Why? Because there's posters all over the hood that says he a snitch, but it's like, yeah, but where's the proof? The proof is that someone that you respected, who you were told to respect, said it. And that's really all they've done with a lot of history. So this is the same thing too, right? They've been lying to you about Christopher Columbus, and then 50, 60 years later, you finally realize, man, they've been lying to me, and you think that that's the only thing that they lied to you about. No, they lied about Christopher Columbus, but everything else was the truth. You don't truly believe that.
Y'all interest. I'm gonna do that without any type of bait and switch, without any type of Trojan horse scheme or anything. We don't have that. Let's be honest about that. Let's be honest about that. And if you really were honest, you'd be hollering at them for that. Now it's gotten to a point where we're all like, hey, we've extended olive branches. We have Black Americans who were helping the South Africans in apartheid. So it's never been where we've always.
So I'm gonna start to fast forward a little bit more, but like he said, like we helped in the apartheid. What's the word? Johannesburg. But where are these other groups helping us? And I asked, right? Let's just take the Palestinians, for example, right? Because now, when you got people like Breonna Joy Gray, and I do like Breonna, you know what I mean? But it's like you got people like her, Nick from RBN, who else? All these cats, they want you to pretend as if your sole issue should be fighting for Gaza. And then if you don't, then it's like you're a bootlicker and all this stuff. It's like, bro, what? And then I'm like, okay, fine. I'm willing to fight for the Palestinians. But then when you start talking about how the so-called Afro-Palestinians are mistreated, that's just propaganda. It's like, is it true or not? You're just trying to divide. I'm trying to divide by reading articles that have been reported, right? Then they'll say, oh, this is what Nick had said, right? And it's not just him. I'm just using him as an example. But he said like, oh, well, when he was in a protest, I'm paraphrasing. He was in a protest. He had got tear gassed by the cops, and it was some Palestinians who helped them get the tear gas out of his eyes. I'm just like, bro, are you kidding me? Like, hey, salute to them, right? It's like, bro, you could have Googled that, right? Or let's just say it was a white supremacist in Jake Lang, and Jake Lang came and said, hey, look, man, I know my people tear gassed you, but this is how you get it out of your eyes. You wouldn't look and say, hey, thanks, Jake Lang, a known bigot. Now suddenly he's an ally because he helped you do that. I'm not saying it's not a positive gesture or notion, but to try to pretend as if that's some collective widespread level of solidarity. And this was the other thing they told me. Oh, when George Floyd, Palestinians were marching with us, and then they painted a mural of BLM. I was just like, bro, are you kidding me? Again, more symbolic gesture. So if that's all it takes, then all I have to do is just paint a mural of many of the unfortunate lives lost in Palestine. I'll make a mural. It will say Free Palestine, globalize the Intifada, and from the river to the sea. Once I do that, we should be done here, right? I've gave you the same level of advocacy that you've given to me, but that's not what they're asking for. They're asking for more and more and more. When you're at the kitchen table, when you're at the city council, and you see that your community is at the bottom, rather than focus on your community, you're supposed to be focused on Gaza. They're talking about black schools failing here. You know what the remedy to the black schools failing? Focus on Gaza. Huh? They're saying that black men are unemployed here. You know how we can get black men from being unemployed? We can focus on Gaza. So all of this stuff, they're playing on your heartstrings, but all of the issues that they're pointing at you about has nothing to do with Gaza, but they're framing it. Well, actually it does, because we fund Israel, and if we don't fund Israel, then we wouldn't be dropping bombs on Gaza, and then maybe you can have a job. So the reason why I couldn't get the reason why I tried to get hired at a construction job and none of the Latinos would hire me, but they hired a bunch of undocumented Latinos. The reason why they did that was because of Gaza. Okay. But that's what you've been convinced, right? I'm not fighting for Gaza or anyone else besides FBA. I salute that. Hey, Roger, they gonna call you xenophobic and they gonna call you a bootlicker. Why y'all fighting for the U.S. imperialism? And they always try to talk about how bad America is, death to America, and all the people that are saying that. Guess where they're trying to say it at? From the comfort of America. They'll say that, oh my God, we helped destabilize these countries, which we do, right? I call that out. If you help destabilize a country, that doesn't mean that you need to bring a bunch of people from that country in. I don't support that at all. Imagine I come to your house and I make a big mess at your house. I'm not gonna say, hey, look, man, your house was clean. I came over here and I tracked mud all over your house. You know what I'm gonna do? Now you can come live with me. That wouldn't make any sense. No, if I came and contributed to making your house a disgusting pigsty, I need to clean up what I destroyed. So if we're destabilizing these countries, we can't say, hey, we destabilized the country, so now we got to send a bunch of immigrants from that country here. No, we destabilized that country, help build up that country so these people don't need to come here. Not because I hate them, not because I'm xenophobic, but if this is their homeland, and they want to stay in their homeland. They only left their homeland because it was quote unquote destabilized. How about we stabilize what we destabilize? Because then if you say, hey, look, they're only coming here seeking a better life. There's a bunch of kids in Oakland seeking a better life. There's kids from Baltimore seeking a better life. So you're saying, forget the native born kids seeking a better life and focus on some kid from Tijuana. He's just fleeing gang violence. There's gangs in New York. There's gangs in St. Louis. So the American kids, they have nowhere to flee. Shut up, nigger. Pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Okay, fine. I'm going to do that. So tell that kid from Bogota to pull himself up by his bootstraps. I don't want to hear any sob stories. Oh my God, they're fleeing gangs. Well, the gangs are rampant here. You say it all the time. What about black on black crime? Well, that crime is happening from gangs. Where could I flee? Shut up. Pull yourself up. Okay, fine. I'm going to shut up. Just shut up and stop talking to me about Gaza. Shut up and stop talking to me about ICE. Tell all of them to hold their own nuts and pull themselves up by their bootstraps. That's the same thing that you told us. When y'all told us that out of tough love. You know what? I ain't gonna hold you. That was the toughest of love you can give us. And we just dishing the tough love back. It's tough, but it's love. That's all we saying. Hold your own nuts. So sorry, not sorry, but Gaza and Israel is not real. Can eat a fat Isaac. Hey, I respect it. Clownish salute. Why would anyone come to the country that destabilized their country? This is what I don't get. They try to say, oh my God, America is a fascist place run by these pompous patriarchs. And, then they start wishing DEATH to America, right? And then people be like, hold on, if America is a hellhole ran by fascists and Nazis, and then you got these degenerate, debaucherous, foundational Black Americans here, why in the heck would you want to come here? It just doesn't make any sense. Remember, y'all country is so much better. Y'all talk about how your culture is so richer, right? But you want to come to a place where you think our culture is inferior. You want to come to a place where you think is a bunch of degenerate Blacks. There goes the neighborhood. Okay, why would you want to come here? Because all these people that hate us, it's funny because they come over here to kiss white mommy and daddy, but white mommy and daddy is like, hell to the no. We don't want y'all around us. yeah, we'll give you loans, but those loans are so that you guys could destabilize and disenfranchise the blacks. You're never going to be able to contend and challenge us, not from an economic level. Now, there will be some economic tokens where they can present like, hey, look at this Asian, look at that Asian, but there's something called a bamboo ceiling. These are not my terms, but look up what that term bamboo ceiling means. It means that Asians have a high level of educational attainment, but it doesn't translate to their leadership capacity, right? Which is why, maybe, you'll see, why people don't really clamor for like Asian leadership. Now, maybe this is discriminatory and they start talking about Asian hate, but some of that is based on them willing to be labeled in as a model minority. It speaks to a level of docility and a level of yes men. So they see them as worker bees, but not as leaders. So they're like, yeah, we love Asians as workers, but we don't want an Asian leading the team. You know what I mean? And that's very discriminatory. And this is not my position, but that's the concept of a bamboo ceiling, right? Who has the authority to be able to enact said strategies, said discriminatory practices? It's not us. They say us all the time. We're not organized. We're low educated, low IQ. So that means it's the high IQs that are doing this to you. So rather than blame the people who are in positions of power, positions of wealth to actually discriminate against you, they start blaming George Floyd and BLM. Right. But that had nothing to do why they didn't get into Harvard. So let me play a little bit more of this and I'm going to get ready to shut her down. And I do appreciate y'all for rocking out with me.
Rejected them and we've never wanted to help or anything like that. But the help has not been reciprocated. The allyship has not been largely, I'm not talking about one or two people because there's going to be some Pan-Africanists who can name a few people. Cool, but largely by the nations is not been reciprocated. So at this point, now we're looking like, okay, well, you know what? If this is how it is what it is. So we're just going to keep pushing forward. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. That's how we looking at the situation now. That's what it is now. Now you want to get mad at us for identifying with our own ethnicity and saying that by not submitting to some vague identity, that's why we don't have allyship. Why does it require that? Number one. Number two, why haven't it been done before? Because when we were having a Pan-African movement, remember the Pan-African movement, they still didn't do that. It's not like Africa was ever about that before. And then when we decided to identify with our ethnic group, then that tie got cut. That tie was never there.
So this is where the gaslighting comes in when they try to say, y'all trying to divide us. When were we united? They can't never say we was united. And then they try to point to the 90s. Remember, everybody was wearing African medallions. No, everybody wasn't wearing it. But there were some prominent figures that were wearing it. They were wearing that to pay homage to Africa. They weren't saying that, hey, we all are African. And even if they were, they don't all speak for us. Just because some rapper put on an African medallion and talked about the motherland, that doesn't change my lineage. Because when you start asking those people, they still didn't know anything about Africa. Most of that stuff they were doing were performative. When they were trying to call us African Americans, we rejected it. There never was like, they never took a poll. There was never no vote. Even right now, if you put it to the test, and you said all Black Americans who don't have a immigrant background, would you prefer to be called Black American, African American, blah, 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 right? We always preferred Black. It was just these other people coming in to try to, man, why y'all calling yourselves Black, man? Call yourselves this, right? And then, there was no vote. And then the people, the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons, the Boulay, the DNC, they came and said, look, we gonna call y'all this. And then on paper, that's what it was called. I never called myself African American. My mom never told me anything about Africa. My mom never called herself an African American. It was just always Black. So they kept trying to strip Black from us to a vague African American, because then you get people like tether Obama, who was a biracial Kenyan American. So when they asked Obama about blackness, he says, I'm an African American. Like, he doesn't really like try to stand on blackness, but he tries to stand on being an African American because he's Kenyan African, right? His dad is actually from the motherland, and he has a biracial white mom, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a reason why he doesn't lean into blackness. Now, he will cosplay and tether towards blackness, but it's only towards a means to an end, to galvanize people to vote blue no matter who. So they only use blackness as a condition, a circumstance, and a cudgel. For us, black is not a color. So the whole why y'all call yourself black is just a color. No, it's not. I mean, I've said the things over and over, but it's only because people keep still using these goofy points. Most foundational Black American freedmen, their skin is brown. Matter of fact, most of their skin is copper colored, and we have a wide ranging spectrum of that, right? And we've always led for blackness because it means something deeper to us culturally than simply a color. And you just got to stop with these goofy talking points, talking about that black as a color in a crayon box. Think about how idiotic this is. They don't want you to call yourselves black because black is a color, but then they'll turn around and lump you with a group of people and call you a person of color. But I thought identifying people by color was bad. So it's bad, but you're calling us all just a generic color. It doesn't even make sense. None of these groups were considered colored in America. There was only one group that was considered colored, and that was foundational Black American freedmen. All these other groups fought to be legally classified as white. So when it was advantageous to them, they were white. And then when the whites said, y'all not like us, then they said, hey, big head, blacks, we minorities, we marginalized groups, we're people of color, we're BIPOC, we're just like you. We all the same. And then you start asking them, it's like, how many of your people have been lynched? Well, none. How many of your people were redlined? Well, that didn't happen to us. How many of your people were enslaved? Well, that didn't happen to us. How many of your people were mass incarcerated? Well, that didn't happen to us. How many of the Wall Streets in your ethnic group were burned down? Well, that didn't happen to us. But we're all the same because we're people of color. Okay. And then ask them what color they are. Have you ever seen a yellow Asian? You haven't seen a yellow Asian, but you have seen a yellow black person. I'll show you a yellow black person. Bada boom, bada bam. He's a yellow black person. And they got other people that are yellow, and we call them high yellow. Not yellow, high yellow. And guess what? We also call them red bones. So the foundational Black Americans, which is like Majestic, melanated as sand. There's a reason why they called us colored, because of the one drop rule. We got yellow people like him with two black parents that are considered light skinned. We got the biracial people who we said, hey, look, one drop, one black parent, you're black just like us. We got people who are considered red bone. We got some people that are considered blue black. They so dark that they call them blue black, but the most of us are copper colored. So we have in all hues of the spectrum. But then when they call in these other groups people of color, like, what color are they? Black and brown. And I'm like, okay, cool. Where's the brown people? Because I'm brown. I'm not black. Like, I mean, my skin is not black. I'm culturally, ethnically black, but my skin is not black. So when you say brown, who are the brown people? And then they point you to some Latino who's white. It's like, hold on. No, I'm looking for the brown person. Yeah, there they are over there. It's like, that's a white Latino. No, they're not white. They're Hispanic. Yeah, but there's no race called Latino and there's no race called Hispanic. All you got to do is think of Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz is white, and she's also Latina, which there's nothing wrong with being either or. But this is how they convince you. They've took a bunch of white Latinos and trying to say that, hey, they're people of color just like you, but their color is the same as a white person. Yeah, well, this the whole thing. Even with melanin, I mean, even white people have melanin. They just have lower levels of melanin, right? So that's the whole point. Why people, unfortunately, In a perfect world, if people, you know, and even with that term, right? There's nobody that's united based on melanin, right? I can pull up a bunch of Indians. Vivek Ramaswamy, he has melanin. He ain't trying to unite with us. There's a bunch of dark-skinned Dominicans who are saying, I know black, papi. Many of them have more melanin than you. And this is the concept of all skin folks and kinfolk. This is why, this is why there's delineation terms like foundational black American. You know what I mean? Even if people don't use that term, people are still trying to find a way to say, hey, look, we're not trying to play these games of, on Monday through Friday, you want to pretend like we're all the same. And then the weekends you turn into someone else and assume a different identity. You say FBA say they ain't black too. You said, what about Officer Tatum? Officer Fakem is a raccoon, and with the profile, it seems like you trolling. So you're gonna have to give some more coherent comments before I could pay attention to you, though. And you said they don't claim us. No, they don't. And this is the thing. We, unfortunately, and when I say we, I don't mean all of us, but too many of us, we have been kind of rather desperate and slight way pathetic, trying to claim everybody is black. But no, not everyone is black, because when you want to talk about, just like when you talk about America, right? There's the United States of America, and then there's the continent of America, which they call like the America, South and Central, right? It's not really the same. You know what I mean? You can say it's the same landmass, same continent, but like not the same, which is why people from South America have to immigrate to the United States, because it's different. You know what I mean? But then, they're trying to collapse it and try to make it seem like it's all the same. But Brazilians, all the people in the Caribbean, they don't see themselves as the same. But then they come over here, and based on a certain level of melanin and proximity, we have to pretend that we're the same. You said no facts. Tatum is FBA. FBA is a lineage, not a group. I concur. I never said that Tatum wasn't FBA. I said that he was Officer Fakem. This is the thing, because FBA is a lineage, it's not a group. We have symbols of the lineage. Officer Tatum would be one. Jesse Lee Peterson, the Bussy Warrior, he would be another one, right? I'm sure you can name many more. So the only difference is a tether is a Sambo and a raccoon of a non-FBA lineage, and a Sambo and a raccoon is what it is. You know what I mean? So yeah, Officer Tatum is a clown. He and shout out to the hood table. I know the hood table was over there cooking. What was you talking about over there, the hood table? And matter of fact, the hood table, I'm gonna shut it down soon. You might get triggered because ain't you part of the Umar sector, the hood table? I'm over here cooking up Umar Johnson. But I don't want to offend you if you part of that Umar sector. But let's get back into it though.
And we've had the biggest Pan-African movement here, and they still weren't about no national geopolitical partnership. So all of this stuff, like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And this is the thing that keeps people, that is really making people leave Pan-Africanism, not even keeps people from it, but making people leave that ideology, because they see how biased it is. They see how unfair and how pedestalizing Africa is what Pan-Africanism is all about. It's not about fair criticism.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. So the thing, when they talk about what about black on black crime, they're talking about foundational black Americans. Have you ever heard the term, what about African on African crime? Even right now, look at the Israelis in Gaza, right? That's considered the Middle East. It's fine. Y'all don't want to call it North Africa. Have you heard the term, what about Middle East on Middle East crime? They're literally slaughtering each other, or it's a one-sided slaughter. But no one is calling it Arab on Arab crime. No one is calling it Muslim on Muslim crime. Look at Sudan. Sudan is a country, and then they're so divided that they had to create a South Sudan. It's literally the same country, but they're over there fighting and beating each other over the head. They're cutting off women's vaginas. They're cutting off kids' arms. Kids are being amputated with no anesthesia. This is happening in Africa, and no one is using the term African on African crime. Melik, you love the term melanin. All those people are melanated. Is anyone saying there's melanin on melanin crime? They're not even calling it black on black crime. The only time they talk about black on black crime when they're referring to foundational black Americans. And much of that crime is not all done by us. It's a bunch of immigrants doing that crime. Not to say that the native born are innocent. I'm saying it's a balance, but you're not disaggregating the data. Kodak Black is Haitian. He's done a lot of crimes. He's been a jailbird and a junkie. All of the crimes he's done is framed as black crime and black culture. Nah, he's Haitian. So that's a Haitian doing Haitian crime. So that's Haitian culture. That's divisive. But what did I say that was untrue? Is he not Haitian? Yes. It's not that not part of his culture? Yes. There's black culture. No, it's not. It's Haitian culture. You see what I'm saying? When something is done good, then they want to try to take their wins and gatekeep them. And then when something is bad, it's like it's under a banner of flat blackness, right? In Haiti, there's some gang banger nigga named Barbecue running the country. And they allege that this nigga is not only, illing and drilling people, he's eating people. Now, some of these claims may be obnoxious and outlandish, but who is contending with these lies, right? So if there's gang warfare in Haiti, why aren't they calling it Haitian on Haitian crime? Isn't that what it is? So people are just tired of the hypocrisy, right? If you want to be specific, then let's just be specific. Fine. As foundational Black American freedmen, we got a lot of issues that we got to clean up. But how about we clean our issues up? Don't try to conflate and mix everybody other issues with ours and say that it's all the same. Imagine there were 50 dishes in the sink, 50 dirty dishes in the sink, and you dirty 3 of them. Would you want to take credit for the other 47? Is like, hey, look, man, I only used 3 dishes. I ain't taking credit for all of those, right? And that's what they're trying to do. There's a bunch of filth done by other people, but if they have the same level of melanin, then you're supposed to take one on the chin. Your community need to do this. Is like, nah, that ain't my community. They'll make these separate ethnic enclaves. Hey, this is little Haiti. This is little. So then when crime happens in little Haiti, that's Haitian culture. Don't say nothing black about it, because you didn't want to make a little black town. You want to make little Haiti. You don't want to make an African-American town. You want to make little Jamaica. So when the Jamaicans and little Jamaica is doing crime, nigga, don't say nothing black. You was popping your collar for Jamaica when you won an award. And when you do a drive-by, pop your collar for Jamaica, then hold your own lineage, hold your own nuts. That's all we're asking. Oh, my bad. She is like the beef sector. That's why I was like, I thought you was Umar sector for a minute. My bad. Players mess up, but shout out to the corn husker herself. Tribal warfare. That tribal warfare pales in comparison to anything you've ever seen in Chicago. Even too, they love to talk about if some crusty, musty, rusty, dusty nigga from Chicago or Oakland does a drive-by, suddenly I have to answer for it. That's black culture. One random nigga does a drive-by and suddenly I have to answer for it. Guess what? I'm fine with that. But then when someone from Trinidad, someone from MS-13, La M, the Latin Kings, the Latin gangs are larger, they're more organized, and they're more violent. So when they do some violent, heinous act, that's Latino culture. I don't want to hear that it's not. How is it not? There's something called a Colombian necktie. You've never heard of a Chicago necktie. You've never heard of an Oakland necktie. What is a Colombian necktie? They slit you from ear to ear and then pull your tongue through. That's rather disturbing and disgusting. Doesn't that sound very violent? That comes from Latino culture. There's not no African culture. There's not no black culture. So again, who's violent? I mean, does anyone think that the Crips and the Bloods are more violent than the Colombian cartel, the Mexican cartel, the Russian mafia, the Jewish mafia? So again, you think, oh, the Crips are so violent, and then I just named a bunch of groups that are more violent than them. So the Crips are part of black culture, but you won't say that Trinidad is part of Latino culture. You won't say that the Russian mafia is part of white culture. You consider Russians white. It's just when they're doing their mafia hits. Oh, no, that's not white culture. So what is it? Russian culture? They have an Irish mob. Irish mob, they do crime. That ain't white culture. Russian mob does crime. That ain't white culture. Italian mob does crime. That ain't white culture. One random black dude does a drive-by. See, that's black culture. Make it make sense. You can't, because it doesn't. So quick, under your couch, just got a word. The dirty black American Haitian lady is hiding under your couch. Nah, she's not. She probably, she wouldn't be under my couch, but under my foot, you know what I mean? Maybe that she don't want to be roasted by barbecue. Yeah, barbecue is over there. Salute the barbecue though. Apparently he been standing on business, but y'all think I'm joking. Look it up. In Haiti, there's some nigga named Barbecue over there running stuff. And Kodak Black, who's Haitian, he's never been to Haiti. He doesn't want to go to Haiti. He'll fly a Haitian flag, but then he's a dark-skinned gremlin looking dude, but doesn't like dark-skinned black women. Right. And then when he says all of this coonery, it's framed as, well, look how black men are acting. No, look how that Haitian man is acting. And somehow that's framed as being divisive. And then I ask, is he Haitian? Well, yeah. So how is it divisive for me to accurately describe what he is? We all the same? No, we're not. A jaguar is not a leopard. An alligator is not a crocodile. And a Jamaican is not a Haitian. A Haitian is not a Senegalese person. A Nigerian is not a foundational black American. I don't care what you try to say. Well, look, y'all both got big noses. So if there's a foundational black American with a skinny nose, then what? They can compare themselves to Latinos. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like the reach to try to overly Africanize you. It's like y'all gonna have to come better. Is rather pathetic. Haitians got their home country. They don't have the whites there. No, actually, they do have a lot more people than whites there. Haiti is getting smacked around by Asians, by other people, and I don't want that to happen. But, some people are going to have to go there and stand on business. Instead, they come here and try to say how much better they're doing than us, which is not true, but, it kind of is what it is. Phil Scott had a delineating broadcast today, and he played all the times the tether said they weren't black. Yeah, it wasn't just the Dominicans. I know Black Poppy. I mean, I may have to do a whole stream, or I'll just react to Phil's stream. It wasn't just them. And this is why I say it oftentimes, because it was even FBA saying this. Black is just a color. I mean, Melik says, he calls himself melanin because people try to reject blackness. My whole thing is, when I'm leaning on standing up for blackness, that's what I'm doing. If you want to call yourself something else, no one is stopping you. But then people start whining. It's because they can't galvanize people. I'm a Hebrew. Okay, fine. Build your Hebrew community. I'm an Israelite. I'm a Moor. And then you look, and then they have no community. They have no institutions that they built, and then they keep coming back to black people. But I thought you said you weren't black. You're Moor. Like, where's your Moorish Science temple? Man, you don't know who I am. Okay, fine. Link up with all your other Moorish peoples and build something, right? The same people that don't think that they're not black, they're always assessing over people who call themselves black. If somebody wants to identify as a so-called color, why would you care? White is a color? That whole crayon box? Black is just a color in a crayon box. Guess what other colors are in that crayon box? Brown, red, pink, yellow, purple, blue, white. All colors in the crayon box. So a lot of these arguments are corny. No one is forcing you to call yourself black, call yourself Israelite, Moorish, melanin rich, whatever you need to. But when someone is calling themselves black and you don't want to be a part of that conversation, just shut up. Just get the hell out of here, bruh, because all you're doing is serving to derail the conversation. And maybe we can have a meeting of the minds where you bring your Moorish contingent and you bring your Israelite contingent, and then we say, hey, look, man, We got the Moors, the foundational Black Americans, you know what I mean? The Nigerians and stuff. And then we can come together as human beings, but we don't have to come together and ethnically erase each other. How many times do I have to reiterate? There's a reason why China has Chinatown. It's not called Asia Town. It's not called China and Japantown. Japantown is not called Japan and Chinatown. Now, Chinese people could go to Japantown, but they're saying, no, this is going to be culturally and ethnically Chinese. And that's what people try to do. I have little Haiti, right? It's going to be ethnically and culturally Haitian. But where does that leave foundational Black Americans? They say we're all the same. And then as soon as we say, yeah, we're the same, then they pivot and say, we're not the same. Little Haiti. Huh? I thought you said we're all African American. So where's the little African American town? They're like, hell no, I ain't African American. I just said that so y'all could fight for us to get here. I'm Haitian, right? They have little Africa, right? This isn't Africa. This continent isn't Africa. So then you're supposed to, just be okay with all of this stuff, right? But then if I say, how about I have a little Freedman town that honors foundational Black Americans? No, that's divisive. You really from Africa. It just gets tiring, bro. Gangs in the United States don't be doing nothing compared to other countries. That's why I don't let people get off that goofy, what about black on black crime? Find me a video of Latinos talking about Latino on Latino crime. 8 of the 10 most violent cities in the entire world are in Latin America. It doesn't get any more violent than that. Find me one video of them talking about brown on brown crime. Many of them are racially white, so they're not calling themselves brown. You're calling them brown. They don't call themselves brown. Find me the video of them talking about brown on brown crime. There's a litany of videos of a bunch of Sambos. What about black on black crime? If you were doing something about black on black crime, you wouldn't have to get on a podcast and start whining about it, right? And it says, there are so many FBA saying worse stuff than Kodak. Why you focus on immigrants too much? Well, you know what? I'm about to get up out of here. And since I already know you're a troll page, I know that you won't come up. So, but I am going to drop the link because this gets extremely pathetic. People come over here with these little faceless troll accounts and try to do all this stuff. So I'm going to drop the link, and then, you feel me? If you don't come up and you make another comment, then I'm going to have to get you up out of here. Not because I'm about censorship. It's just, I just don't really have the patience today, right? You already got this weird name, sha-la-la-la-la, you feel me? But shout out to Mac Dre, and da-la-la-la-la, lots of paper. I know I got la-la-la-la-la, lots of haters, and you might be one of them because you're over here whining, why you focus on immigrants too much? Like, why are you even over here, bruh? You're definitely clearly not foundational Black American, and you're not intellectually formidable enough to challenge me. However, if you think you are, the link is out there. All you got to do is hit the link. You don't even got to cam up because y'all always got all this stuff. And you know what? Hey, sha-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la hater. Don't worry.
And you know what, nigga? You acting like a little bitch right now. You acting like a little bitch right now, nigga. Man, fuck that. I ain't letting that shit ride.
You know what you're acting like. So just hit the link or hit the link or hit the road, Jack. You said I had that chick from Haiti running on the route on the blade. Yeah, I might have to put her on. Might have her on robot, you feel me, on autopilot on that E1 fizzle, you feel me, my nizzle. But hey, you know what I mean, I'm pro ho, so you feel me. Salute to the Blade Runners. You said it's a Caucasian in here, and salute to all the Caucasians. Like I said, I'm a humanitarian, so I love all people, right? You know what I mean? I get a lot of love from Caucasians. To be honest, like, to keep it 1,000, wow, like some of my biggest contributions have been from Caucasians, you know what I mean? So, but kind of is what it is. So, but I'm America first, so I'm a countryman. I love my country. But just because I love my country and just because I love human beings, I ain't gonna just let you get that off, bruh. And this always happens. Like, you're not gonna see the dude. He had all this stuff to say. I dropped the link and then suddenly crickets. Like, bro, why do y'all always do this stuff? They always say you're attacking immigrants. Okay, here, tell me how I'm attacking immigrants. Here's the link, and I'll give you the floor. And then suddenly he's not commenting anymore. So I already knew you were a troll. So if you comment again and it's some incoherent babble and you don't hit the link, I gotta get you up out of here. And that's what I'm saying. Whenever I put the apron on and start cooking, then suddenly out of nowhere, we got all of these like disgusting degenerates that come out of any, so it's like, bruh, like I said, you're not intellectually formidable enough to challenge you. You said you never seen them before. I've never seen them before either. Yeah, I appreciate that, Sincere. You know what I mean? I'm not growing as fast as Sincere, but I appreciate that. Now I know I could grow. Matter of fact, if I was talking about what about black on black crime and then, black women ain't ish and all they do is wear bonnets and furry flip-flops, I'll probably have like 2,000 live viewers and probably like 40,000 subs. You feel me? But I'm not willing to compromise my integrity and sell of my community, my countrymen, my lineage, just for a few shillings, you know what I mean? It ain't like I'm a man of the people. It's not like I'm just getting cash apps left and right, you know what I mean? But I'm not doing it for that, you know what I mean? I'm doing that because I do love to engage and connect with the people. But, I love a good discussion and a good debate. I prefer to have a discussion so we can come to a meetings of the mind. But if you want to debate, then, I'm also here for the intellectual slaughter. So I'm gonna play a little bit more of this and then I will get ready to shut her down. I did drop the link. I was calling, the sha-la-la-la-la lots of haters. I was calling on all the haters, and every time they got all this little slick stuff to say, I was like, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna just drop the link and you can come up. And then suddenly they disappear. David Blaine, is that you? You said, as you should not. Please appreciate the majestic rocking out. Trust, I've been on here 10 years. I just start growing. Shout out Melik. I didn't even know you was on here 10 years. I didn't even know, like, I would have subscribed to you 10 years ago. So I appreciate Melik. Bro is always down to have a good conversation, but have some substance with this conversation, because I gear my platform like I'm going to cover what I want to cover, and I'm going to cover it from an angle that I don't believe is thoroughly hashed out. So, I don't always try to just ride the wave. What's the most popular story? And then sometimes people have did an extensive coverage of a particular story, and I don't want to just jump on the wave based on some clicks, clout, and currency. And no, I appreciate you too, bro. Like, and we're gonna have to do that meetup soon. Hopefully, the lovely Sincere is gonna pop up, but I know Sincere is let's call her the ravishing recluse, because she got to protect her peace and her privacy. But hey, I don't mind. I'll pull up and pop up like Peekaboo. You feel me? The majestic melanated. You can slide through. Roger, you gonna have to take a flight over here. Cloudness, you gonna have to come. Leave your blicky at home. Leave that blicky at home, bruh. But don't trip. I got you covered. I got you covered. But let's get into it. I'm gonna play a little bit more, and then we will shut her down. And we're talking about Umar Johnson desperately reaching to bash FBA. So let me fast forward a little bit. Hold on, let me let this advertisement go. All right.
Podcast recordings.
In America, and it's okay to make jokes about Cheryl Underwood and dark-skinned black women. I'm disappointed in us, Loon, because I'm hearing a collective voice
in his roast. I want to talk about that as well too. So here we go.
So just to be clear, now Umar is about to go on a tirade, little tether tirade, because he's talking about there was a roast. Kevin Hart did a roast, and then apparently he had this white dude on there who was disparaging George Floyd and making some other like kind of racist and or racially insensitive jokes. So Umar is about to go on a tirade about that. But again, first of all, did any of y'all watch that Kevin Hart roast? Kevin Hart used to be funny. Like when he was gritting, he used to be hella funny. Like the movies coming up, like I liked his movies. Now, bro, it's not so funny He's turned into like a corporate shield. But hey, bro, get your money. I'm sure he's said and done some good things for the community, but he's done a lot of tap dancing, stepping and fetches. So hey, look, do your thing, Kevin Hart. I didn't watch the roast, so Umar is about to go on and try to scold the entire community because oh, y'all didn't stand up for black women, during this roast. He's gonna do this weird twisted pivot to try to tie the Kevin Hart roast into FBAs and reparations. So hold on, because this one will be a doozy.
And it's okay to joke about that? Dark-skinned black women been catching hell in America since America been America, and it's okay to make jokes about Cheryl Underwood and dark-skinned black women?
I couldn't even let him get that off. And see, this is where that little goofy gender divide pandering comes in. Dark-skinned black women been catching hell in this country. Okay, most of the lynchings were black men. Most of the mass incarceration is black men. And we're not trying to play this thing, well, black men suffer more. No, we're talking about black people. But you see how he's pivoting? Black women been catching hell in this country. Okay, if black women been catching hell, what do you think they were doing to the black men? They weren't giving hell to black women and giving pancakes to the black men. And this is this whole little pathetic Pan-African pompous pandering where you think that, hey, I'm a pander to a bunch of single moms or some, and you know what I mean? They gonna want to donate to the Afentunde. It's like, come on, bro. Like, who is this helping? What agenda does this serve? He's talking about like snow bunnies never. How does this bring the black man and black woman together? I'm just saying, like, this nigga is corny. If I come to Cali, it'll be to run a ballot measure. Hey, run a ballot measure. And then, you feel me? Get some drinks afterwards. You know what I mean? Make it a very fruitful trip. Me either. Kevin Hart has become corny. That's what I'm saying. When Kevin Hart first came out, his stand-up was funny as heck. His movies were funny. Now he just comes off as a corporate shill. Get your money. But the most people I know, they didn't watch that Kevin Hart roast. And Umar is saying, y'all let that white man tell jokes about Cheryl Underwood. Like, nigga, I didn't watch the show. Like, what are you talking about, bruh? Let's get back into this little whiny little wacko.
I'm disappointed in us, Loon, because I'm hearing a collective voice from Black America that says the rest of the roast was okay. The only thing wrong was the George Floyd joke.
You see where the gaslighting comes in? He's talking about a collective voice. The collective community didn't watch that Kevin Hart roast. I mean, y'all let me know. All y'all in the chat, how many of y'all watched the Kevin Hart roast? So now he's blaming the whole community. Y'all let that ride. Black women getting attacked. It's like, okay, and this is what you standing up for them? Like, come on, bro. Give me a break with this shit, Umar.
George Floyd was one man. Hundreds of thousands of my ancestors were enslaved. Tens of thousands of my ancestors was lynched. From Black America that says, okay to joke about that?
That's the truth. I already did a video.
And it's okay to joke about that? Dark-skinned black women been catching hell in America since America been America, and it's okay to make jokes about Cheryl Underwood and dark-skinned black women? I'm disappointed in us, Loon, because I'm hearing a collective voice from Black America that says the rest of the roast was okay. The only thing wrong was the George Floyd joke. George Floyd was one man. Hundreds of thousands of my ancestors were enslaved. Tens of thousands of my ancestors was lynched. Don't you tell me the George Floyd joke was the only joke that was improper. Because if that's your narrative, Loon, that the George Floyd joke is the only joke that was improper, what the hell y'all doing crying about reparations for since slavery is okay to be laughed at? What are you crying for reparations for, FBA and ADOS? If it's okay to make a mockery of slavery, if it's okay to make a mockery of lynching, the only thing wrong with the roast was George Floyd, what the hell you need reparations for if it's okay for black white people to laugh at your pain?
All right.
Come on, man.
What? Hope, please.
Nigga, please.
Hope.
Nigga, what?
Nigga.
Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
What?
What in the fig Newton is this dude talking about? So because some people didn't see the Kevin Hart roast and some people didn't come up vociferously to defend Cheryl Underwood, then suddenly, and you niggas don't deserve reparations. What the hell does Kevin Hart roast have to do with reparations? What did the Kevin Hart roast have to do with FBA? And still here he is and saying, well, y'all don't deserve no reparations because we didn't stand up to some unknown third-rate C-level comedian talking about a black woman. I didn't even hear those jokes. And then from the clip that I seen, I believe Cheryl Underwood stood up for herself. And I'm not saying that, hey, nobody else could and should have stood up for her, but like, nah, people didn't even hear the jokes. The only joke that they heard was the George Floyd one because it was clipped and went viral. I didn't watch the Kevin Hart roast because I don't give a fig Newton about that whack, corny roast. And here he is, breathing, foaming at the mouth, mad about reparations and trying to tie it to a Kevin Hart roast. Let me run that one more again, and this is going to be the last thing that I touch on. But like, come on, bruh. And then there's a reason why he's always going to these safe platforms. He'll go to a platform that he's comfortable with where the people won't challenge him. They won't challenge him on his buffoonery and coonery. They won't challenge him on his Pan-African prattle. He's the prince of Pan-Africanism, but he doesn't want to live in Africa. He hasn't built anything in Africa. He's so-called from America, and he's struggling to build a school here. He hasn't built his school here in the land of milk and honey. So he hasn't built anything in Africa, and he's trying to get us to go back to Africa. You've never been. It's like, nigga, you first. Why won't you go? So this is rather pathetic, Umar. Let's go back, though.
Kevin Hart and his roast and the joke that was made about George Floyd in his roast. I want to talk about that as well, too. So here we go.
And it's okay to joke about that? Dark-skinned black women been catching hell in America since America been America.
Hey, shout out to Kenny Mack. So Kenny Mack says, what is he smoking? So then I gotta hit you. Hey, Umar, Kunmar.
Bitch, are you high? Are you high?
I don't know, bro. Is smoking on that good. Possibly, or maybe some stress. You said, if I've ever seen Umar before, I'd say, who is this Mr. T looking dashiki wearing mofo? You said that booger sugar. Shout out to Brian. Yeah, bro was definitely tripping. You said, I pity the fool looking. Hey, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, maybe, bro, the new Bumpy Johnson. Let's play one more time. This gonna be the last go around, and I'm gonna shut this thing down. But let's hear to what Kunmar has to say. Remember, he's talking about Kevin Hart's roast, and then he does some sort of twisted, toxic tether tirade to try to say that this is about FBA and reparations. You said, I'm not tolerating any Umar disrespect. Well, hit the link then. You talking about Umar respect, and where's your photo on phone them grave? Okay, I mean, don't sound like you're gonna have an intellectual response. First, what are you so proud of, Izzy? What are you so proud of that Umar has done? What has Umar done for you, and how many cash apps have you sent to Umar? Let's start there so we can see if you're even, because there's a lot of trolls in the chat, and Izzy, you appear to be one of them. But you talking about on phone them grave, right? We got a Dr. Umar butt kisser, so it's like, you feel me? I can respect it. You feel me? I can respect it. Let's get into it, though.
And it's okay to make jokes about Cheryl Underwood and dark-skinned black women. I'm disappointed in us, Loon, because I'm hearing a collective voice from Black America that says,
and he talking about he's disappointed in us. Nigga, who was us? And then, matter of fact, you disappointed. Oh, we need to do this. But hey, Umar.
Who is we? Who is we?
Who is the us that he's so disappointed in?
The rest of the roast was okay. The only thing wrong was the George Floyd joke. George Floyd was one man. Hundreds of thousands of my ancestors were enslaved. Tens of thousands of my ancestors was lynched. Don't you?
I was trying to shut it down, but now we got to do this. Where's your school at? You don't have a school, so don't ask me about a school because you don't have one. We the only people that make fun of someone in our group, and the people when they try to do something progressive. I didn't make fun of Umar because he doesn't have a school. Making fun and not really making fun. I'm just roasting them. You know what I mean? Just like he's trying to roast us. He's saying disparaging things about us, and I'm saying, humorous things about him. You talking about he's trying to do something progressive. Why hasn't he done it though? Right? He's over here wagging his finger and telling people to do something that he hasn't done. And clearly you haven't done it. You're talking about where's my school at? Bro, where's your school at? You're over here meeting, writing Umar. Like, what has he ever done for you? Right? He's inspired you to come on here and make these comments. Bravo. He advocates for us. Oh, it's a lot of people that advocate for us. We don't need advocacy anymore. We need support. So what support has he provided for you? He's made content talking about snow bunnies never. He advocated for us. He advocated for loving on black women. Do you have a black woman? I mean, you give an incel vibe. So do you have a woman at all? So there's only one of him, right? That's true. So where's your school at, Izzy? Where's your school? If we start making fun of him and back him, we could get somewhere. I donated to the school. The school is still not here. Izzy, how much did you donate? Be honest. You probably didn't donate anything because you think that you just rambling and babbling. That's me support. No, it's not. Put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kenny Mac, they over there. Well, where's your school? Nigga, you don't got no school. So, like, what are you talking about? I'm not the one who ever said I was going to build a school. Umar talks about building a school, and then people ask, hey, bro, where's the school at? See, we just trying to tear each other down. No, y'all love to talk about accountability. Umar is always talking about accountability, so I'm holding them accountable. Are you holding them accountable? You're over here just meat riding him for nothing. Like, what does he produce? You said I'm bashing another black man. He's literally, Umar's over here bashing the entire lineage of black men and women. And what did I say that was bashing them? What did I say exactly that was bashing them? I mean, come on now. Just stop with the victim narrative, right? He's over here calling us names. I call him a name back. Why are you bashing him? He's another black man. We supposed to be brothers. Well, guess what? I roast with my brothers. I clown on my cousins. I call my cousins name. My cousins call me names. I call my cousins name. So I'm supposed to call my cousin's name, roast on my cousins. We all supposed to be family, right? But I can't joke and roast Umar. Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about, bruh? Hey, Izzy or Ezzy. Come on, man.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Hey, and Ezzy, bro, I dropped the link, bro. So either hit the link, Ezzy. Here are your options. 1, hit the link. 2,
and I quote, you know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Those are your options, bruh. Now I'm gonna try to continue on with the show. Hopefully, you don't leave these kind of little rambling comments that are very empty and vapid. He's one individual. Yeah, he's one individual. I'm one individual. You're one individual, right? He has no school. You have no school. I have no school. The thing is, I never promised a school. Did you promise a school? Matter of fact, you're very invested in this school. Are you a teacher? Did he like promise you a job there or something? Are you a janitor at the school? Salute to you. I'm not trying to say that it's a bad thing. Or would you prefer the term custodial engineer? Are you a custodial engineer at Umar School? Fair question to ask. Otherwise, why are you so emotionally invested? It's like, bruh, let his nuts go, bruh. I'm disappointed. You've been building the school for a decade and have no school, but still collecting cash and people snap. Hey, Roger, you can't say that. Why you bashing another black man? Where's your school at, Roger? I'm just saying. You see what I'm saying? I asked him, hey, did you donate? And then he says, keep donating, nigga. Hey, Ezzy, don't worry. Ezzy.
You know what, nigga? You acting like a little bitch right now. You acting like a little bitch right now, nigga. Man, fuck that. I ain't letting that shit ride.
Nigga is acting like a little moist, sassy maniac over here. Keep donating, nigga. Why would I keep donating? Nigga, I already donated and he didn't produce anything. You keep donating and you keep meat writing. Get his nuts out of your mouth, you moist ass nigga.
With that freaky ass shit, nigga. You's a freaky ass nigga. Fuck you mean? Get your freaky ass on. You know you freak.
And like Kenny Mack says, the deflection king or the deflection queen, little sassy little boy. And shout out to Drip Zone, Drip-tastic, Drip Set, ow. So again, we got the moist maniac in the chat. Stop being a chatty patty. You the one over here whining like a moist little hoe who had her first period. Shut up, Izzy. You're not intellectually formidable enough to challenge me. I pity the fool for saying I have no school. No, you can't say that. Why are you tearing down another black man? Like nobody even knows if you're black, Izzy. You won't even show your face. Come on, bro. How pathetic could you be? You wouldn't say this to his face, so you get on your weak ass platform and talk about him. Nigga, I don't know why you're acting like Umar is tough. Umar is just a regular nigga. Like, what are you talking about? I wouldn't say it to his face. I would say this to Umar. I would say it to you. No one even knows what your face looks like because you're too pathetic and too cowardly to even show your face. So you're not tough and Umar is not tough. So everything I said, I would say to his face because I'm not saying anything, you know. Didn't really say anything disrespectful. You're making it disrespectful. But then again, it's kind of hard to like hear because you kind of got his nuts in your mouth. Just stop, bruh. He's just one man. I thought he said he was the Prince of Pan-Africanism. This is what I'm saying. They don't want to hold him accountable. He says he's the prince. And they say with great power comes great responsibility. So if he's this all-powerful Pan-Africanism, I need to hold him to a higher standard. If a Prince of Pan-Africanism says he's going to build a school, and then I try to hold him account to building that school, somehow that's tearing down another black man. Like, Izzy, like, come on, bruh. Do you hear yourself? This is what I'm saying, bruh. A bunch of moist, moronic maniacs. Let's get back into it. You know, I'm trying to shut it down, but like, you know, the moisture is rising, starting with Izzy.
You tell me the George Floyd joke was the only joke that was improper. Because if that's your narrative, Lou, that the George Floyd joke is the only joke that was improper, what the hell y'all doing crying about reparations for since slavery is okay to be laughed at? What are you crying for reparations for, FBA and ADOS? If it's okay to make a mockery of slavery, if it's okay to make a mockery of lynching, the only thing wrong with the roast was George Floyd, what the hell you need reparations for if it's okay for black white people to laugh at your pain?
All right.
And bro said that like that was a mic drop. Like, come on, bro. What are you talking about? And why does he keep mentioning FBA and ADOS? Nigga, I thought you were African-American, Umar. Weren't you talking to the African-Americans, right? This is their whole thing. I'm not an FBA. I'm a Moor. So go talk to the Moors. Go talk to the Israelites. Go talk to the African-Americans. What are you talking to us for? And the new Marcus Garvey, which one? You know, the sellout version or what? But let's play a little bit more so we can get up out of here. But I do appreciate y'all rocking out.
Oh boy. Okay, here's the thing with that. Here's the thing. I made a couple of videos about the George Floyd thing. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Personally, and this is just me speaking, I haven't seen the roast. I didn't see the roast. I saw the clip which I addressed, and I saw that one clip about him making the joke about, I even forgot his name, him making the joke about George Floyd. And then I saw that, and then I kind of dug through some more clips, and I saw some of the other jokes, all right? But I'm going to speak for myself. A lot of people, and I don't know anybody who sat there and watched the whole roast personally. I don't. I know a lot of people who heard about the George Floyd joke because that joke went viral on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. So a lot of people heard about that. So I don't think people were saying that it's okay. All of the other jokes were okay. I think people took umbrage with the George Floyd joke because that's the joke they heard. That's the joke they heard. So people addressed the joke that they heard.
Fast forward a little bit more.
So the narrative of making slavery,
if black people
and things like that, in order for us to deserve reparations. When Umar's talking about other nations receiving reparations, he doesn't dismiss their qualifications for it, their claims for it, because of things that they do. He doesn't reach to deny their claims for it. In this clip right here, let me show you.
Du Bois said, if black people put half as much time into building for ourselves that we do arguing with the government, we'd be a lot further along than where we are now. Take reparations. I support reparations. It was the Pan-Africanist movement that gave birth to reparations. And we are entitled to it, and we should fight for it, and we will get it. But while we're waiting for that, or while we're fighting for that, we are a $2 trillion people, you know. We are the 10th richest economy on earth, you know. You do know we spend $2 billion on Jordans and $4 billion on liquor every year, you know. Almost $1 billion on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork, financing our own cancer. My point is, fight the system for what they owe us, but hold yourself accountable for what you have that you're not using to advance your community. That is a fundamental Pan-Africanist and a Garvey critique of the Black experience in America. We could be doing more with what we have, and we're not. All these schools closed down. Why we ain't buying them and opening up our own schools? Why we don't have our own hospitals, right? When that COVID, they killed off all our elders with the COVID, where the Black hospitals at?
Okay. You'll agree with reparations if you can give credit to the Pan-African movement. If you can give credit to Marcus Garvey, who's Jamaican. Where was Marcus Garvey's reparations movement? Marcus Garvey was not no reparations champion like that, not for Black Americans, because
Marcus Garvey was on some stuff. Why y'all begging the government? Why y'all begging the white man? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's what Marcus Garvey was on. The same people that tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, they'll compare you to a community that didn't pull themselves up by their bootstrap. Why y'all can't be like the Asian community? You mean the community that got interest-free loans? I mean, I could be like them. Just start with the interest-free loans. No, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Why y'all can't be like these poor immigrant peasants that came over here? You mean the ones where you gave them millions and millions of free acres during the Homestead Act? The whole concept of the Statue of Liberty was about formerly enslaved people, and then they turned it into some immigrant story. Give us your sick, your tired, your poor. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. It's actually a stupid notion because there's no context where you would be inviting sick, tired, and poor people to come. But that's just a way to try to say, hey, look, we don't want to pay these niggas. We're tired of this population. So give us your sick and tired poor people who are not Black, and then, hey, we'll give them a footing. Because there's no context where you would want sick, tired, and poor people. Not to shame them, but just think of it. If you were starting a football team, would you want sick and tired poor people on the team? If you're about to build a construction project, would you want sick and tired and poor people working on that? You needed a nanny. Would you want sick and tired and poor people doing that? You want teachers. You want sick and tired and poor? Hey, give us your sick and tired and poor scientists, right? There's no context where you can say, oh yeah, it makes sense. But it only makes sense when they try to desensitize you to an immigrant story so that they can further displace a native population. And then they can push the narrative, well, we're all immigrants. Like, no, we're not. And like I was saying earlier, which I kind of forgot, we all didn't come from Africa, but let's just hypothetically say that we did. There's no definition that you can find in Merriam and Webster's where if you kidnap, forcibly transport someone or human traffic them, there's no definition that you can equate that to immigration. Matter of fact, it's actually disgusting and disrespectful because definitions have meanings. So to try to say that, well, human trafficking, that's just immigration. Kidnapping, well, that's just immigration. You know what I mean? Forcibly transporting someone, well, that's just immigration. No, immigration requires an autonomous choice, a voluntary choice. So even people that were indentured servants that were treated poorly, they made a choice and they made a economic calculation. Yeah, I don't want to be treated like crap, but me being treated like crap is better than my conditions that I'm currently living in, which is why I have a acronym called MAE, mutually agreed exploitation. Many of these people know that they're going to be exploited. They know that they're going to be mistreated, used, and abused, but that use and abuse is better than what they were experiencing in their homeland. So they mutually agree to sign up and get exploited. And then later they try to equate it. Well, we were slaves too. No, you're an indentured servant. It's not the same. And I don't need to break down the differences in indentured servitude, but let me play a little bit more of this and then I will be up out of here.
Garvey was not a Black American. Marcus Garvey was about a mass exodus to Africa. Okay. So there was no, what are you doing? And this is my thing. And there are other clips. We didn't even have to go down all the lists because I've made videos about that before. But when you want to talk about Pan-Africanism, and here's the thing, when you talk about reparations and Pan-Africanism, you're not talking about exclusive reparations for a lineage. That's my problem. Okay. Because the fact that you even introduced Marcus Garvey means that you're talking about reparations for a diaspora, which is fine, according to you. That's fine. All right. According to you. But now when it comes to reparations for Black Americans, because we didn't get offended by a Sherry Underwood joke, our qualifications is kind of iffy. We have iffy qualifications on reparations. Okay. Our claims for reparations is kind of iffy because of because we didn't find that joke funny, right? Now, are you going to say that about CARICOM? Because I haven't yet once heard even the qualifications of, or even the standard of, y'all buy chicken, y'all buy Jordans, y'all buy video games, y'all buy TVs, y'all buy iPhones, y'all buy this, y'all buy that, and y'all complaining about reparations. Now, is there an argument to say that Black Americans can do more with what the resources we have? Of course there is. Okay. Does that at all take away from our claim for reparation? Absolutely not. And we're the only group of people really in the world who get told that. Okay. What are you going to say that about?
Yeah, for instance, they're saying, oh, well, y'all can do more. Well, all these groups could do more, right? I mean, the Latinos could do more to stop the deportations. They could have stopped by not voting for Trump, but they said, I will vote for Donald Trump, right? They could have done more to stop the deportations, but no one is saying that, right? People aren't making that argument. Well, y'all could have done more, right? There's a lot of things that, some Israelis and some Jewish people could do so they don't have a bad PR right now. There's a lot of things that they can do, but people aren't making that argument. So yes, as foundational Black Americans, of course, we're not perfect population. We've been highly subjugated, marginalized, disenfranchised. So we've overcome a lot of the stuff. And then a lot of the stuff, some of it was self-inflicted and much of it is systemic, right? So we can talk about that and have a nuanced discussion, right? But the way Umar wants to frame it is, if you don't give all the glory to Africa and Pan-Africa, then you niggas don't deserve nothing. And yeah, we support reparations, but only if you can try to tether it towards Marcus Garvey and some mythical Pan-African public figure. Because he spent, over a decade bashing reparations, and now he pretends he does support it, but only if he can give credit to some Pan-African, Umar the Fraud Johnson is a Cuban descent from his dad's side, Jamaican from his mom. He's a walrus, built hating tether, period. Now, I knew that he did have some Cuban descent. I didn't know that his mom was Jamaican, so that's news to me, because sometimes people make these allegations and they usually don't have any information to stand on. So I'm not saying that it's not true, but I did hear about the Cuban descent. I didn't hear about the Jamaican stuff, but I have heard about, the toxic tethering of Umar, but they always do this, right? So CARICOM has a reparations project that they're fighting for people in the Caribbean to get reparations, right? Like I said, most Jamaicans don't even live in Jamaica. And Jamaicans don't call themselves African All right, I'm back. It looks like I had to join. Nah, I wasn't muted. It looks like my Wi-Fi signal went out, and looks like we've been joined. Hey, shout out to Hey, and shout out to Cloudness. Cloudness was like, it's no sound on the live. It wasn't. It's just my router had went out. I think I've been cooking too much, so I'm gonna get ready to shut this down. But I wanted to give a shout out to none other than the infamous and the na na notorious Shakim. Appreciate the cowboy sliding through, and appreciate Cloudness, because Cloudness want to make sure. So I mean, I think this has been a fruitful stream. I can go on and on about the toxic tethering of Umar Johnson and the pan scam clan Africanism. And again, I have to reiterate, I am a humanitarian, so I love all people of various national, ethnic, racial, and cultural backgrounds. But we shouldn't have to try to pretend as if we're all one big global Negro, one big generic African, and we have to strip and pretty much abdicate our identity under some mythical Pan-African utopia that just doesn't exist. Africa is not united. 3,000 tribes, 2,000 different dialects, 54 countries. There's nothing unified about that. So in order for anyone to even mention Pan-Africanism, I need to see it practiced from Africans on the continent of Africa. You can't look to Americans and say, hey, you Americans should be in the driver's seat of Pan-Africanism. And when we got someone like Umar Johnson talking about he's the prince of Pan-Africanism, however, he has nothing to show for his Pan-African prattle that he's promoting and promulgating, it's only right that people call him out. I'm not saying that, hey, he's scum of the earth, he should be disparaged and, tore down. However, he should be called out. He should be ridiculed. He should be, humiliated, because that's just part of our culture. Roasting, accountability, etc. And people would do it for me. I mean, people have no issues. I mean, people in the chat calling me all sorts of names. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm built for this, you know what I mean? Some people are going to agree with me. Some people are going to disagree with me. That's what happens when you put your thoughts out into a public platform. So everything I said, someone could do a reaction video and you quote unquote attempt to debunk me. And you know what? It's just fair game. You know what I mean? So we had a Dr. Umar butt kisser and meat writer in the chat and was all mad. Where your school at? And this person had no school. I dropped the link. They didn't want to hit the link. Maybe they were too busy gargling Umar's testicles. I don't know what they were doing. However, hopefully this stream has provided some level of value for you. I do sincerely appreciate y'all being here. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you. I'm probably just going to end this stream right now just because I don't want to have any more technical difficulties. But I do appreciate y'all. Hopefully, y'all hit your boy with a like, a share, and I'll come back tomorrow and hit y'all with another banger. So I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. But let me see if I can hit y'all with some visuals. Hold on. Give me one moment.
If you feel the vibe, like, share, and subscribe. We growing on this journey. Come and take a ride. If you wanna slide with that dude, be easy. We going all the way to the top, believe me. All the way to the top, believe me.
Yeah. Hey. B-Eazy Dat Dude, Shit so hot it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. There's a lot of niggas that say they real. To me, that shit is far-fetched. Them cats is pussy. They really is on some feminine stuff. If I ride up on them with the 40 ounces, it's a definition of adrenaline rush. What it do is sweet like cinnamon puffer. My niggas is rough like Willow Pass. Grew up out on Mary Mac, but I used to hang on Willow Pass. These birds that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. Better zip lips so you get hit when the fifth spit. Flat line in your pit pit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like Buku for the cocaine to go poo-poo. Most these niggas is foo-foo, so I'm shitting on them like doo-doo. I can't fuck with y'all like tofu. I'm just saying, man, like Goku. Bad bitches at the house with me watching Netflix or Roku. Fuck them both at the same time, and I swear to God it was so cool. Street legend, real boss, I call shots cause I'm still saucy. I know some G's to the bike crack on shite rackin' and fly back out to Milwaukee. When they hit me flow, they say I be burning up, burning up. Cookie to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. When you hit me flow, say I be burning up, burning up. Cookie to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up.